Welcome to Puzzled and Chatty with me, Adam Gray, where I talk with people in the jigsaw and speed puzzling world and hear their stories and thoughts on this growing competitive activity and the puzzle community. In this episode, I sit down with one of Canada's top teens puzzlers, fresh off her second appearance at the World Jigsaw Puzzle Championship, Danielle Engleson, the team player. We discuss her lifelong love for puzzles, her competitive nature, and how it's helped her rise up in the Canadian rankings, her contributions to the Canadian Speed Puzzlers organization, and her ability to support the puzzle community, a true team player. So pull up a chair and pick a puzzle off the shelf to do while you listen to two people who are puzzled and chatty. Hello, Danielle. How are you? Thanks for being here.
Good. How are you?
I'm also very good. You're the first person that I'm talking to post Worlds 2025, so that's very exciting considering you were there as well. Excited to be
Definitely.
back in. Did you enjoy Worlds? We'll get into it later, obviously, but did you enjoy your time there?
Oh, it was incredible. So the first time we went, I thought it was like a dream vacation, and this was like 10 times that just because of our crew of people. I met so many new people over the past year that it was instead of going knowing hardly anybody to knowing everybody and like going out for drinks and food after and not going out at all the first time. So it was a very different trip, but like just amazing, everything about it.
Good. And we'll obviously get to that because there's a lot to cover with Worlds and Nationals and everything else that goes in between that. But just like the other people I've spoken to, just let's start from the very beginning or as early as possible. And when did you start puzzling? Not
I
necessarily speed puzzling, just puzzling in general.
Well, yeah, so I didn't speed puzzle for until my adult life anyways. So puzzling my whole life, always had a puzzle. My mom would always get me puzzles for my birthday and even like mind games, like the wooden or metal problems, those kind of things, or like those sliding puzzles. It's like a 16 4x4 with one square missing. Those, or like a make this image from this picture and like you go through all the different images and just sort of like it's a spatial kind of a game. All those growing up just into that big time. So we just grew up with it. And then actual puzzles, more like my grandma was into like thousand piece old school, always a landscape puzzle on the go. And it was just like, ooh, let's just put a piece in. Obviously, it's like so hard because it's a thousand piece and you're just like little and growing up and it's like seems impossible. But I was always just like intrigued and just sort of from there developed into like getting you. There wasn't hardly any 500 pieces growing up. It seemed to only be 1,000 pieces, like aside from kid puzzles. But yeah, just kind of grew up doing puzzles all the time in my room, staying up late, that kind of thing.
Yeah, because I do have this picture of you here, which will be shown when I do my editing here, of you sitting at a table with your face on the table, but you have two puzzles on the go, quite opposites, a Tyrannosaurus Rex and Mickey off to the other sides. I think it might be a third puzzle in the
Yeah,
front
yeah.
as well. Uh, was was it common for you to have just a bunch of puzzles on the go?
Oh
Did you
yeah.
like to keep them out as well when you were done?
I think I always made people come and look at them, and that actually still hasn't gone away. Whenever I finish a puzzle, I always bring Mark, my boyfriend, in to be like, "Hey, do you want to see the puzzle?" And he is a good sport, and he'll come and he'll look, and then I'll take it away, take it apart. But yeah, definitely, I would always because there were only 100 pieces, and then just do like two or three at one time, or like mix them together and separate them, and then make my mom come and look at the finished product. I have a couple of those type of pictures where there's a bunch on the go. But yeah, definitely just always doing a puzzle on the table.
You mentioned your grandmother. Was that probably like your biggest family influence, or were there parents, siblings that were also into getting you into puzzles?
I would say just basically my grandma. She was the only one who really did puzzles. No one else in my family really took any kind of interest. I was the only one who collected them and did them in my room or on the table. Sometimes one of my older sisters, she would do them with me from time to time, like the one I'm sort of closest to. But other than that, no, there's 7 years age difference between like us kids. So like my older brother wasn't about to hang out with his, little sister to do a puzzles. Just my one sister kind of did. But no, no one else is into puzzles. I'm the only one, other than my grandma.
And you're the youngest sibling, correct?
I'm the youngest,
Of a
youngest of
lot of
five. So I have two older brothers and two older sisters.
so was like doing puzzling, I guess that's a very busy household. Coming as someone from an only child, much much quieter in my house. Was it like something you like to do on your own, like kind of your own thing in a very busy place?
Yeah, it's interesting that you say that because I didn't really think about it until you just mentioned that now. But yeah, you're right. It's just kind of like you kind of had your own space in your room, or in my room, and then that's kind of where I would do in my sort of teen years, growing up age, coming of age years, would often be by myself in my room into the nighttime just doing puzzles. But yeah, that's probably like how I could kind of claim my own space doing something that I liked to do.
I think that's funny because like you had a lot more people around than I would have, and I would do puzzles for the opposite reason because I didn't have the siblings to like even play like two-player game type of stuff. It would just have to be what can I do on my own type of thing, and it was well, I guess puzzles is one of the things you can do as a solitary activity. So it's just interesting. It doesn't matter how busy or quiet everything is around you. There's still a reason, I guess, to do puzzles.
Yeah. Did you do them with like your parents? Did they help?
No,
No, not
no.
interested.
Parents were not into it. I have mine's through my grandfather on my mom's side. That was it. But if I was at my grandparents' house, yeah, there was a puzzle that we could do together. But on when it came to like just at my house, just me doing them. And yeah, a lot of thousand-piece puzzles. 500s weren't really don't seem to be really a thing back in the
Yeah.
later 80s, 90s type of time periods. It was thousand-piece puzzles and like 3D puzzles were huge at the
Yeah.
time as
Yeah.
well. The shape puzzles of animals and stuff, those were
Yeah.
big.
That's
But yeah,
right.
not really a lot of 500s. Yeah. Are you so like with those siblings? I would imagine there's an aspect of competition that might come up a bit as well in that type
Yeah.
of atmosphere.
Yeah, I would say so. We're always kind of doing games and things like that, and quite often just like challenge each other to do sort of stupid little things all the time. So I would say yes. And then also brothers kind of are like kind of rough and tumble, so it's just like you're used to sort of that type of play all the time. But yes, definitely sort of like this hierarchy of who's the best at what. And
We'll
like my
obviously get
siblings are like they're very much into sports too. So it's
oh,
just like all of us.
so we'll obviously get into the speed puzzling aspect in a bit, but so were you as competitive in other aspects of your life before realizing speed puzzling was a thing?
Oh, hell yes. So, like before speed puzzling, I've done sports my whole life. Like I was a competitive diver when I was like in grade three, and I would fly to different provinces with my mom and dive, and like was trained by like Olympic divers, and because I lived in Thunder Bay for a short period, and that's when I got into diving. Oh, how did we not know that? But
It was only
well,
for 1 year. It was at university. I just went
well,
for
mine
one
was
year.
only for like a year and a half.
Yeah,
But
that
in
was
that
more
time,
than enough for me.
yeah, agreed. But we moved back where I live now. But yeah, so I was in diving, and then I come from a swimming family, so my parents also put me into swimming. So I was into that, and then when I got like back to elementary school, which I mean, I did play sports in elementary school, but like everybody kind of plays everything, right? So
Yeah.
in high school, I continued on with swimming, and I would have done volleyball, but you weren't able to do two major sports because of practice times and obligations. So I'm
Right.
like, well, I already know swimming, even though like my heart, I love volleyball. Now I got into it later, right? And then I realized how much I love volleyball, and I wish that one of the things I would change would be that I played volleyball instead of swimming, but I still did well in swimming, and then badminton. But still, I always did. Oh, and baseball too. I forgot I played baseball all the way and still do. So, still completely the most competitive person. Like all of my friends would tell you that I am like their most competitive friend, or playing games and things like that. Like just all of that. Get all into it, follow the rules, detect like everything to know what I need to know to win, and strategize. It's not so bad now. I feel like speed puzzling, although it's very competitive, has helped kind of curb that edge a little bit, soften it a little bit. But it's still, I'm obviously I want to do well. But do I care that I'm going to like crush the competition, like me personally? Not so much anymore. Or maybe it's all, maybe it's maturity as well.
Okay, well, that's going to come back around. So we'll see if that's actually true.
Okay.
When okay, so let's do the crossover now. Competitive person, you do all these other activities and such. At what point do you like discover speed puzzling and the fact you can compete in it as well?
So my friend had she went to a brewery on her own. I wasn't invited at that time. She had a team of four, and then I played volleyball with her, and she was telling me about this. I was like, "What? There's a like a thing that you can go to and race putting a puzzle together. Like I love puzzles." She's like, "Oh, you like puzzles? I didn't know that." So we found out that we both like puzzles, and I said, "Okay, well next time, let me know." And so she let me know, and then like the other people on the team like bailed. So it was just her and I. So you could have up to four people on a team to do a 500 piece. I was like, all right, well, I don't really know what to expect, and we're here, so we might as well just do it. So we did it, but we got second, and I was like, holy shit, we were pretty fast. We got second with two people. What the hell? Let's get people on our team here and actually, have a fighting chance. So that was the very first moment. And then from there, we went to. So, what would happen was this brewery did a competition every single month, like the last Monday of the month or whatever. And then at the end of the year, all of the winners got together for like a tournament of champions and do it. It would compete for that, but then they kind of would like turn the lights down. They were vacuuming and hitting your chair, throwing extra pieces on the puzzle, kind of making it hard to do the puzzle,
Oh, okay.
which was,
On purpose.
yeah, yeah. It
Okay.
was kind of like a little ridiculous, but from that first competition, and then we got like another person, and so there was three of us. We were one, like I want to say 7 out of 8 of them. So much so that the people at the brewery were like, we're starting to get complaints that you guys are winning. And then it's like, well, then like change the rules because you won $40. So $10 to do it. You got the puzzle and then you won $40. So essentially we each get $10 worth of stuff every single time we do it. So we had enough money to buy like their merch and like shirts for the team and pay for our bill because we'd always get a drink after and stuff like that. So eventually, and then we won the tournament of champion too, all with three people. So it's just like, okay, well, like, what do you want us to do? We're following your rules, change the rules so that second place can make it into the tournament since we can't be in a tournament with ourselves.
Yeah.
So whatever, we did have enough teams to do it, but yeah, so I kind of stopped going shortly after that because it was like right around COVID time too. So I was like, this seems like a good time to just step back from it all.
So this is pre-COVID?
Yeah,
Wow. Okay, so
yeah.
like speed puzzling really kind of, in my opinion, took off kind of globally during COVID when people were stuck at home and discovering various YouTube channels and such, and then it's just increased since then. To hear someone who's actually competing in speed puzzling events before COVID even hit, that's surprising.
Yeah. But then it
So
was
you've been
full
doing it,
stop after that.
yes, but it means you've been doing it for a lot longer than many
Well, yeah,
people
but
that
it's a
I've spoken to.
brewery. Okay, okay. But it's a brewery competition versus like the CJPA competitions is like
Yeah.
real. And the brewery's like, four friends who don't really puzzle and show up. So like, yes, we did win and congrats to everyone who competed. But I feel like it's like we would be pros to like novices. You know what I mean? So
Would you be practicing for these tournaments at the brewery?
no,
Okay. Because if you
no.
said yes, then
Okay, yeah,
completely
all right.
different
I would agree with
conversation.
you. Then I would say it's no, absolutely not. It's like we show up, we just know that we are likely gonna win, and we quite often did. I think we lost maybe twice.
Yeah. Okay. Um, so I'm gonna jump more years than I thought then, at this point to when you actually started doing, let's say, more competitive competitions with the Canadian Jigsaw Puzzle Association, the CJPA. if I've missed something in between these that's important, please bring it up. But what I could find, your first CJPA event was a pairs event in November of 2023 with Brienne, I think is your partner
Yep.
at that time. Is there anything in between those?
Not of real note. No, just like COVID, I was doing like I had to. So some people had to work from home, and some were allowed to go to the office, right? So I was elected from my office to be the at-home worker. But there was also sort of a strike going on with the union that we work with. So there was like a time that I had nothing to do for like a month and a half, and it was like I was doing 1,000 pieces a day. At the time, I was like, wow, that's pretty fast. But like not really actually putting a time on it to be like, now I know that it should be, like let's just say under 2 hours for like a fast 1,000. But it was just like I was doing them in a day and I got through all of my puzzles. Like this is before all of this happened, right? I had a very small collection of puzzles and just kind of going through them and trading with people who had puzzles that they were getting rid of. But anyway, so no, nothing of real note during that time, but I was still puzzling and also discovering all of the YouTube content as well. That was sort of becoming more and more prevalent. But yes, so
What?
November of 23. So Brienne, Brie, I call her Brie. She was my friend who we went to the brewery with. And I was like, hey, so I had stumbled on the Puzzling Canadian, found out about Canadian Nationals, couldn't go, sold out. And then that's also where I discovered Devon and stuff, which will come up. But um, found out about the CJPA and I was like, hey, there's virtual competitions. Let's do a pair. Because, I'd only ever puzzled in pairs. I've never done an individual speed puzzle or any of that. So I was like, let's just do a pair. And then we did it and we, did all right. I was like, oh my God, this is so awesome. Let's do the next one. And then that sort of started the train of CJPA competitions.
Yeah, because there was a gap. So like there was November 2023, you did your first pairs event, which was eighth place, which is a good starting point for never having what it sounds like a competition against other proper speed puzzlers.
100%.
And by November 2023, the first national was already done.
Yeah.
So it was becoming more well known in Canada by that time for sure. Um, and then yeah, you don't do your first individual event till February of the next year. So what, like a 3 month gap?
Yeah.
Was it just because the events were sold out, or you just didn't?
I did, well, for individual. So I did January pairs and then I did February. So my actual first competition that I signed up for, and I think it might have been because it was sold out, was March. And then someone was getting rid of their subscription for February. And I was like, ooh, I really want to try to go to do it myself. And so then that's how I got into February. And I had already made the decision to go to nationals too, because that was a whole other thing. Like I couldn't. So initially, when I found out about nationals in that May of 24, I couldn't go because I had my year-end volleyball tournament was that day, and I was like, oh my God, like of course. So you have to have a minimum number of girls on the court and that kind of thing when it's co-ed. So I just had something sort of inside me, like that was driving me to want to go to nationals and miss volleyball, which is a huge statement in general for people who knew me before puzzling. And I was like, I really just want to go. So I talked to Bree, who was my partner, right, in puzzling world. And I'm like, hey, and she's on my volleyball team. So I'm like, hey, look, is there any way I can go to nationals and miss our year-end volleyball tournament? Like, is there any way you can help me make that happen? And, like, of course, she's an amazing friend and understanding 100%. And she was like, yep, you know what? You got to do what you got to do and we'll figure it out. I was like, oh my God, like such a weight was lifted because I was just dreading not going to nationals and then telling my friend sort of the news. So anyway, that's why I started to get into the individual competitions because I knew I wanted to go to nationals and then start that train. And then as you will see that I switch partners for virtual competitions because Bree couldn't go to nationals. So now I'm stuck with no partner, but I wanted to go. So my coworker Mike, he was nice enough to be like, "Well, hey, you know what? If you need somebody to go, I'll go to Georgetown for the weekend." And so then we started to puzzle all of the time and included virtual competitions. But he's a beginner puzzle, right? Like getting into it, likes to do it. We have fun together, but getting into puzzling. So it was like just sort of learning how to work together and start this sort of pair for nationals. And so that's kind of where the change happened between Bree to Mike, because it was like, let's, if we're going to do it, we're going to do it, and let's stay together until nationals happens. So that's kind of what happened there.
Yeah, so that makes more sense. So yeah, that's why yeah, there's a change in partners that I have written down. So obviously that makes sense. You can't pull everybody off the volleyball team and
Yeah,
send
that's
them
right.
there. But your first individual competition and your second, you finished fifth and sixth, which is also a great start. With that, are you feeling pretty good then heading into nationals for your first time?
Yes, I am. Yes and no. So this, I still haven't reached the like mental side of puzzling yet. And I feel like that first competition, I'm trying to think of what the picture was. Do you have them down? I'm just trying
In
to
For
mixtape.
virtual
Yeah.
or no, I don't have the
Oh, yeah, I
virtual
know what it is. Okay, so no. So the first one, yes, I was excited. I was like, yeah, fifth, like I'm right in the running. This is great. Then the second one was mixtape afternoon, and I remember it now. I wrote them down, but so Devin was in that one, and she competed. Didn't really know her yet, but she was in US nationals at the time, and so she
Yeah.
competed virtually. So I had been practicing, and it was a month, and I was like, yeah, this is not so bad. Like I'm getting faster. And then like she killed me. I was so upset after that one, and I didn't do that bad, but I was like, how in the hell does someone get go that fast? Like I've been
Yeah.
practicing, like I'm fast. How does someone just kill me like that? And it was just like a real wake up call as to that everything that goes into speed puzzling, as you know, is this mental game of learning how to do certain things and getting around mental blocks and all of that kind of stuff. But I was just getting into it, and I'm just thinking, yeah, I mean, I'm already fast enough. I should be able to bridge that gap of even faster if I really try. And then it was like, as you know, minuscule sort of amounts as you kind of go up and practice and stuff. So it was good, but I was not happy after that particular one that I was like, okay, I need to really start to focus on what makes somebody faster because it just seems to be not just do more puzzles. There's more to it than that. But
Yeah. Yeah, and we'll get to all that, but it's interesting because yeah, you think you're doing really well, and then someone like Devin shows up and just like blows the times out of the water, and there's that mental bit where it's like, okay, if I ignore that person, how did I do against everybody else? And it's because there's only so many people that you'll be able to catch up to. Um,
mhm.
or at least close the gap on. Like we look at like Worlds, and you have the top finishers there with Veronica, I think won this year. You have Victor also from Poland. Like just looking at those times, at no point in my life I'm like, well, that's who I'm going to be competing against at some point. We're going to kind of match up. Absolutely not. Like
Yeah.
I don't foresee a world where that happens. But then you look at the other people, it's like, oh, I could probably jump like 10 spots next year or 20 spots if I focus on those little things, which is a huge, in speed puzzling, it's a huge jump.
Oh yeah.
But jumping up to, yeah, there's just some people, and we have a few of them in Canada where it's just, no, we're, that's not going to be the case, whether it's Megan or Katie or Riley. There's just certain people where it's like, probably not. But
Maybe.
you do
Probably
sign
not.
up
I
for
agree. I
nationals.
agree. But you
Oh,
never
right. Okay. For me, at least,
know. All right.
we have different. Well, we clearly have different goals.
Yeah.
When it comes to, you did sign up for nationals though. That year, you decided to go pairs and individual and teams as well. Um, why did you decide then to go to nationals and choose it over volleyball, which you clearly really enjoy playing? What was that deciding moment that was like, I have to do it?
I just I was just getting into it, and it just sort of felt like there was something special about what I was doing. As silly as that may sound, or maybe you get it, but just like competing in something that you're sort of naturally good at, and then just to kind of hone it in and to see that there's like a national Canadian wide competition for this thing was like I've always loved puzzles and now I'm competing doing it and it's like kind of everything combined into one sport, if we'll call it a sport. It just, I don't know. I really just had this like inner drive that I was like, I want to go to nationals. And I, shortly after deciding about nationals, I was like, well, I want to go to worlds. So like, it was right around the same sort of time at the beginning of the year that I was just like, I just had this sense of, I want to be a part of this. Whether I do amazing or not, I didn't think I was going to win. I just knew I wanted to be there. And so I just made it happen. Thank God. I'm getting goosebumps talking about it. I loved it.
Yeah, I think, yeah, there's something about that decision to enter at least the first nationals where it's, I don't know, it feels like, because most people I speak to that do puzzles started from a very young age. Almost universally, that seems to be the case. All different kind of origin stories, but most of them start with, I was really young, whether it's 5, 6, 7, 8, whatever. Um, and it almost seems like a culmination of all these years that you're practicing for something you didn't know you were practicing for,
Yeah.
and suddenly it's just presented to you as here's here's what you're practicing for, and are you it's a new twist on something that we've been doing for 10, 20, 30 years. And yeah, like I remember sitting down at the table for my first nationals in 2023 and just kind of looking around at everyone else in the room. I'm like, there's a lot of people that like puzzles, and there's a lot of people that like doing fast puzzles, and I have no idea how this is going to go. Because unlike you, I hadn't done any virtual events. This was my first ever event, was that nationals.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is either going to go really well or really poorly. Because I have no idea what to expect. Like, I walked in with zero goals.
Yeah.
I wanted to make the finals.
Yeah.
Um, and in that first year, there wasn't two qualifying rounds. It was just one qualifier, and top 20 moved on. So I was like, that'd be nice, but I don't know how good these other people are. There's no way for me to have known at that point. Luckily, I went through, and that if I didn't go through, everything changes after that. But when you get to your first nationals, did you have like a goal in place?
I think it was basically the same as you. No actual like placement or timer because like I didn't really know where I fit in other than like the few competitions that I did, which, like you saw, like I did okay. So I was like, all right, well, top 10 in a competition, I feel like I should be able to get to the finals, but like I wasn't considering that I was going to win. I just wanted to get through in all three if I could. But, who knew about the other groups because I had my pair, which Mike was a beginner, so I was like, let's just do our best. And then our team was kind of a throw together team as well. So it was like, I just wanted to make it through to the final, and then from there, who knew? Like I said, I did not expect that I was going to win anything. I just wanted to be
So,
there. Just happy to be there.
so you do finish in 15th in your qualifier. I don't have the puzzle written down. Was it two of a kind or was
Yeah.
it the other one?
Yeah, two of a kind.
Okay, so you were in my round as well, which I would have had no idea at that point in
Did I
time.
beat you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I was nervous. I fell apart in that round. I made it, I think top 22 moved on,
Oh,
or
okay.
23 moved on, and I
Oh,
was
that seems
two
like a low
spots.
number.
Pardon?
I said that seems like a low number.
Yeah, because it was like 40 something in the final. 42, 43 in the final, 44.
Mm.
So if it was like 22 moved on, I was in 20th place and not by much. I was nervous. But yeah, you would have beat me that year. So you're happy then, I'm guessing, moving on to the final. That's kind of the main goal um, to do it. You do move on to the final. You finished 26th overall at a national competition. You didn't beat me in the final, uh, which,
Well done, though. Well done.
which is, I'm just trying to gauge when you said competitive. Yeah, no, I'm just seeing
Yeah,
how
no, that's
competitive.
fair. I still want to beat people. It's not, well,
Did
I'm glad you beat me. There's got to be a little give and take.
that finals puzzle, the Hello Vinyl, that's exactly my type of puzzle.
Nice.
And I kind of had a stern talking to myself in between the rounds, to like smarten up, remember what I practiced and everything else, and it worked, I guess. Um,
Nice.
did the finishing 26, does that kind of impact your result and your approach going forward? Like, are you more, now that you finished the nationals individual competition, are you more focused on the speed puzzling competitive aspect?
Um, I want to say not really. I mean, I was excited to do it and like yeah, and I want to get into it, but I wasn't like, okay, I only got 26. Now I want to start like buckling down and get better. That didn't happen. I didn't really take it sort of more seriously until preparing for Worlds
Okay.
in all honesty. It wasn't until I was with Caitlin and that we got together and like we did a puzzle practice weekend that it was like, okay, now we're getting serious with what kind of puzzles we're doing and starting to do more and more and more puzzles leading up to Worlds is kind of when I took it more seriously. But it wasn't not right after Nationals. I was just like happy I got 26. I did the puzzle well. I liked the puzzle and everything was, good, but I wasn't like buckled down. I got to do better than this at that point.
Yeah, it's that's fair. We'll get to worlds in a second, but just we have so much to get through. I don't want to spend too much time on things. But you also
Right.
do pairs in your first nationals. The only question I really have is that like you finished in 22nd, but only the top 20 move on. However, you were also in the finals.
Yeah.
So
So,
how does that work?
so two other people, by luck, two other people didn't show up or weren't able to make the finals. So we got a call the next morning. But what's actually funny about that call is that the day before was my 40th birthday. So we knew we didn't make the cut. So we had no real obligations until the next morning at like 12:30. So of course, we go out drinking. And then wake up the next morning, hungover at breakfast, that I receive a text from Amanda saying, "Hey, do you want to come to the Paris final at this time?" And I was like, "Oh my God, Mike, we made the Paris final." So that happened. And then we did the Paris final. We've never done 1,000 piece before, ever. It was
Yeah.
literally like, let's just work together as a team to get a 500 piece in a good time and go to nationals. And I didn't know that the final was 1,000, didn't know that detail. So guess we're in it now. So we go to do our 1,000 piece puzzle, and my goal was simply to finish before the time. And as you see, we did
You did.
dead last. But I was at that moment, that was my favorite puzzle moment, 100%, because I knew we could get it done in that time, and we did, and it was incredible. So, I mean,
I think
last, yes, but
watching like the world's live streams and being at nationals events and even which will come up in a bit, the bring your own puzzle events, where there's strict time limits relatively for all of those. And yeah, my favorite moments are when you're watching somebody try to beat that last bit of the clock. They're there to finish the puzzle. That's their main goal. So like Kirsty Williams was on this puzzle cast before, and she was at Worlds, and it came down to the last 10 seconds for her to finish in her round. The bring your own puzzle events. There's been a few where there's been that big push at the end, and you get two or three people finishing in those last 5 to 10 seconds, and everyone else is so happy for them. But the individuals are as well. So yeah, last whatever, but you finished 1,000 piece puzzle in a short time period. I think that's if I was there watching that event, I would have been so happy for those for your part your pair to have finished it. So yeah, it's still a huge congratulations for that. It is an achievement.
yeah, definitely.
Um, and then finally, just really briefly, you have a you do teams as well called the Jigsaw Baby Barras.
Yeah.
Can you explain the name?
So my friend Mike and I, so we like capybaras, and specifically baby capybaras. And
Okay.
so then we needed a team name, and I'm like, well, what about the Jigsaw Baby Bears? And then I should have brought a shirt. So I have a shirt so our pairs were two baby bears or capybaras with sunglasses on, and then our team was four capybaras, like on our backs. They were hilarious. But anyway, so that's all that is. We just are ridiculous and just like animals,
Are
capybaras.
you the each team? What I do like about like the team's events are the unique names, but also like the different T-shirts and stuff that people wear. Are you kind of for the teams you're on? Are you kind of in charge or one of the lead people in the designing of those T-shirts?
Yeah, self-proclaimed, but I'm normally the one who thinks of an idea and was like, "Hey, Allison, I'm making a shirt." Or Caitlin, when we first were paired up, I'm like, I got the shirts. I'll do something for us so that we can at least match. I always want to just match, right? Whatever that means. But yes, generally speaking, I'm the one who sort of thinks of the design. Our world shirts, though, like the Damn Good Puzzlers one, that was a collaborative effort, and Devin had those shirts made for us. But all the ones for like Allison and I are like the smaller competitions, like regionals. Like I did all of those just for my own kind of fun thing, like a side thing. But
It
yeah,
is funny. You don't see them a lot with pairs, but it seems like
yeah.
the
Well,
two of
all of
you.
my pairs we match.
Yep, I know. Um, but you do even if your team that you kind of put together, as you said, just you still finish in seventh, and you move on to the finals. You finish in the top half. Were you kind of expecting a high place like that?
Kind of. I hoped for it, but I didn't really have any specific place in mind. I again, so my friend Bree, so the volleyball competition was on the Saturday. I was like, well, like any chance you want to come up to Georgetown on the Sunday and we could do teams? And so she agreed, and so she came up. Mike was already there for pairs, and then were on the hunt for a fourth person. Like every time I make a team for nationals, it's literally like random. So I met up with the girl, our fourth player, Ashley Power McLean, and so was our team, and we're like, all right, let's do it. And then we did, all right. So I was like, okay, that's not too bad, all things considered. I never puzzled in a team before. I've only ever just started puzzling, with two people other than the brewery ones, but that's not 1,000 piece and coordinated and things like that.
Yeah.
So, but yeah. Yeah, no, I was happy with it, all things considered.
I'm gonna skip ahead then. So you do Worlds in the same year, which is what, Nationals is in May, so May, June, July, 4 months, 4 and a bit months afterwards. But you said you made a decision to go to Worlds before you did Nationals?
Yeah. Yeah, like
Okay.
early in the year, I was like, if I'm gonna do it, I'm not getting any younger. And so initially my plan was Worlds 2025 was gonna be my first Worlds. And so then after I had made that decision in my mind and sort of this was like in January 2024, I was like, like why am I waiting for 2025? Like I'm not winning Worlds by any means. If I have the ability to take the time off and the money to go, why don't I just go this year? So I had asked my friend who was like gonna go to nationals with me if she wanted to go to worlds with me. And then she really didn't have the best time at nationals because I mean, if you're not like into puzzling, it's not the most fun event. So she was like, I don't know if I want to go all the way to Spain for that. So then Mark, agreed to go. But yeah, so I just was like, no time like the present. Let's just go this year. And so I just was like, let's go. So I did.
How did you kind of get your like your so you have a different partner now with Caitlin McCluskey. How did that kind of fall into place?
So that was our good friend Devin, the matchmaker. So I only knew Devin, and because I had randomly messaged her saying, "Hey, I know who you are. I've been following you since I saw you at Nationals in 2023
Just
on
picturing the text
YouTube."
going, I know who you are, and then
Yeah, I sent this like there's a certain limit of characters on Instagram. I found that out. I sent her this really long message saying, "You don't know me, but I know who you are, and I've been following you sort of since October. I saw you online win the nationals, and how does somebody go to Worlds?" And so she's like, "Oh, I'll send you all the information." So I was like, "Okay." So she sends me the information, but the thing is with Worlds is that you have to sign up for more than one thing. If for an e-transfer, like an international e-transfer is a certain amount of money. So one individual event is not enough money. So I was going to do two, which was individuals and pairs, and Mark was going to be my pair. Because I'm like, well, tough luck, buddy. You're coming with me. You're going to be my pair, and we're puzzling together. And so then I told Devin that I was going to go. And then she's like, oh, well, do you need a partner? I was like, somebody who puzzles, yes, I'm going to make my boyfriend do it, and he is not somebody who puzzles, so I will absolutely take anybody you have to offer. And that person was the gracious gift of Caitlin McCluskey. So I was like, okay. So then there was born Danielle and Caitlin for Worlds 2024 because of Devon. So I was only signed up for two events for the longest time for
Yeah,
Worlds.
Devin is quite the puzzle partner matchmaker, it seems. So I think that's how I got my world's partner this year as well, through Devin. So yeah, she's bringing all the Canadian puzzlers together
That's
one day at
right.
a time. What were you kind of hoping to accomplish then when you went to Worlds? Because there's a lot more involved than just make the finals, like nationals here. Did you have other
Yeah.
goals in
Well,
mind?
I mean, I would like to say that my goal was to make the finals in all disciplines, but I mean, I was in for a rude awakening when I got there because I realized that as fast as I thought I was, it was not anywhere as fast as I needed to be on the international stage. So I was quickly humbled with, okay, well, if this is going to happen, now I need to take it even more seriously and get even faster because this is not what I want to do. I don't want to feel this way. I want to make sure that I can at least make everybody watching me proud, even though I know that they already are, but you know what I mean? You want to make sure that you can at least get through. So, yes, my goal was to make the finals, but obviously that did not happen for all of the things, but you know, that's okay.
You do make the semifinals though for the individuals, which is still an accomplishment in its own. And making the semifinals in 2024 was tougher than 2025. So it is an accomplishment. You don't qualify for the finals, but once you realize how fast everyone is, are you not quite as upset at that point? Or is there still some disappointment?
No, I wasn't upset. So again, when you will hear me say this more than once, it is I knew that I did the puzzle. The flower jungle was our puzzle for the semifinal one, and I knew that I did that as fast as I could. So I was like, there's nothing else that I could have done differently, in my opinion, at the time. And that was as fast as I could be, and it wasn't enough. And I was like, well, I tried. Next time, I guess. But I still felt like I performed well, so I was not upset about not making the finals.
And I think that's important where you'll know quite a few people. I do know quite a few people that are getting into speed puzzling, and sometimes they're disappointed with like what their results are. And it's just kind of reminding them going, is there anything that you could have done better at this point? And if they're like, no, I think I did the fastest I could, I was like, well, then great. You can't just make up time out of nowhere without a lot of practice and going through different techniques and stuff like that. So, yeah, if I walk away from a puzzle going, I know I've done the best I could, I feel a lot better. It's
Mhm.
when you know you've made a mistake and it's like, oh, I could have made up 10 seconds or a minute or which is tougher to deal with. But yeah, if you can walk away from that first world going, I did everything I could with Flower Jungle, which is not an easy puzzle at all. It looks deceptively easy, but it's not as easy as it looks.
Yeah.
It's tougher, but
Experience, though, I feel like knowing what we know now about it, it's like a very different, you kind of view puzzles differently. Maybe you do as well. The more you're doing them, the more you're like, it's not so overwhelming certain puzzles because you're like, you know how to work through them. So, but back then, I was still getting into it, right? So well, it was different.
yeah, you're still within your first year really of proper competition puzzles. So it's while you're at Worlds, it's you've like I know it's taken me a couple years now to kind of really figure out how to improve and what I need to do to improve and where those gaps are. In that first year and a half, it was very much um, just scrambling in a lot in a lot of cases, trying to do my best and not being as focused. And that still happens now. I'll have those days where I don't know what I'm doing. It happened at Worlds this year, but it's it's nice that we're able. to kind of see that.
Hmm.
Well, at the beginning, it was you don't really know what you don't know,
Yeah.
so you're just hoping for the best. But you do well in pairs, and you do make it through to the semifinals, which is great. Your goal is still to make the finals in the pairs. You do finish in, I have it written down as 68th spot in the semifinals, but that's not an automatic qualifying position. So I think you're the second person I've spoken to about this. Before you find out that whether you're in the finals or not, and you finish in 68th, how are you feeling at that point, knowing you're not in an automatic qualifying spot?
I don't really remember any specific feelings about it because I think we knew because I forget how the country rule worked. That it was like it would take, let's just use like 50. They would take the first 50 and then the next 50, it's the fastest of each country.
Yeah.
So I think that we knew we got through on the country rule because we knew who was in our round and like because you kind of know who had to beat. So this is kind of where like my sort of puzzle nemesis, even though she's not, she's lovely, was became Sophie. So
Yeah.
Sophie was in all of my rounds and like kind of followed me through worlds. So I was like, I just got to beat Sophie. As long as I beat her, I can get through. And then like kind of the semifinals, Caitlin was in my round as well, and Caitlin was faster than me too. So I was like, I kind of knew individuals was out of my reach, and maybe that's why I wasn't so upset about it. But pairs, I think we knew that we were the next fastest Canadians. So I'm pretty sure we already knew that we got through on the country rule without seeing the flashing cue.
Yeah. That's funny you mentioned a puzzle nemesis because like I've talked about that with people in my last episode of Speed Puzzling 101, which people should go and watch. I do just gonna do a very brief ad there. I do talk about that, like trying to stay competitive outside of these competitions that we're in. And it one of the things is finding like a puzzle rival, even though they don't even if they don't know you exist. It's like using things like my speed puzzling, because there's always names that pop up around where your name might be. And trying to be like, okay, I need to beat this individual. But it helps me. And yeah, you start to form these rivalries, even though again those people may or may not know that that you exist at all. So yeah, it's just funny when you say your puzzle nemesis.
Yeah.
Even though
Well,
everyone's
rival.
no bad people, it's not like angry nemesis type of thing. It's just those I just want to beat you this time type of thing and move
Yeah,
on.
definitely. But yeah. So
You
yeah,
also
no,
participate,
I think we knew we were going to make it. Well, once we finished that we were going to make it into the final.
and so you do make it to the final. It's 1,000 pieces still that year.
Yeah.
Were you more prepared this time for 1,000 piece pairs?
Yeah, a little bit. We had practiced it. So Caitlin lived in Mississauga at the time, and she had come down to me, and I had gone up to her a couple times, and we practiced 1,000 pieces when we met up there, but not many, but some. So yeah, it was just we were just hoping to because we were like 99th out of 100, like we were right on the end, and we were just like, let's just beat our position.
Which I think you did. Did you beat your
Yeah.
goal of that,
Yeah.
which is
70th,
great.
which was
Uh,
amazing. I was so happy with that. I was like, oh my God, 70th. Like, it's ridiculous.
that's yeah, and especially to finish 70th and not automatically qualify, having to rely on that country rule a bit. I think it's like a nice little vindication when you do better in
Yeah.
the final than what because it's people just can't look at you at that point going, well, you're here because of a technicality, really. But
Yeah.
when you're there and you finish and you're like, yeah, we deserve to
We
be
deserve
here.
to be here. That's right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Um, and you also participated in teams. Based on knowing kind of how competitive you are, I know you've joined a team that is um, not as competitive as your team this year. I think that's a fair a fair assessment because when we talk about this year's team, there's a big difference in that. But overall, did you kind of just enjoy the world's experience, whether it's with teams or whether it's with whatever it might be. Like your team doesn't qualify for the finals, whatever. Um, but overall, did you enjoy your first Worlds appearance?
Yes, I still did. And I knew I wanted to go back. So it was everything was still really awesome, even though it wasn't like the results I wanted in all of the disciplines, but it still was, I still had a really good time and I was looking forward to going back again already.
So, did you make the decision to return in 2025 while you were still in Spain for 2024?
I think so. And if not, then shortly after coming back because I was like, I want to do this again.
And I almost missed this part as well, but you were part of the world record team for Canada as
Yep.
well in the first year, which to go into your first national worlds and be part of essentially the top 10 representing Canada for the world record attempt, which Canada finished third for that, which is huge. How did because that's a completely different type of scenario. You're ready for pairs and teams and individuals, but this is a whole different thing. How did it feel being named to Team Canada?
That was amazing. I was so proud for sure. And then when they sort of delegated roles, I was listed as an assembler, which only was because Caitlin McCluskey is such a good sorter. So she would have pushed me out of that role. But since she was a sorter, I got moved up to an assembler. And I was so proud because I was like, I made the team and I'm one of the people who get to put stuff together on certain spots. And then, we had our little strategy meetings, and that's really where I met Allison the first time virtually. It's because her and I were both at the same end of the puzzle. So we were doing the space of the Guinness puzzle, and then Devin and Sophie were at the other end starting at the bottom, kind of working up. So yeah, that's how I met her virtually. And then we sort of offshot from that because we were both on the same area of the puzzle that it's like, let's strategize about this or that. And then I met her in Madrid, actually met her face to face in Madrid at her where she was staying, and we did the puzzle there, which was an incredible thing to sort of stay. But we were outside in Madrid doing this puzzle, and we just did it over and over and started to work together. And she's telling me things to look for and stuff like that, so that when we did the puzzle, we were done the whole top like faster than we surprised people. It's like, well, we just did it 3 times together. So that's really actually the first time that we puzzled together, and it was great from there. So that's where I met her. And then we hung, as you know how Worlds is, you hang out with everybody all week. And she was friends with Caitlin before I knew Caitlin. So those two were already friends. And then I was Caitlin's pair. So then that's kind of how all of us sort of met and got together as just as friends, not like anything permanent for puzzling. But yeah, no, the Guinness challenge was amazing. Very organized it was a very good team and well organized, and we worked well together. I mean, getting third was incredible, so that was a great experience.
I remember watching it because there's obviously that 6 hour time difference, and I was at the gym watching the live stream of it take place because I was like, oh, this is gonna be like it's gonna take ages to kind of get through this, and then Team USA finished incredibly fast. Well done to
Yeah.
them. Whatever. And I was like, okay, maybe this isn't going to be as long, and I'm not, and I'm probably still going to be at the gym when this finishes, and I definitely was. And then yeah, when I think whoever got second, Germany
Yeah.
maybe, Germany
Yeah.
got second, and then Canada was like close after that. Just I'm in the middle of the gym going, yes. There's like heads turned over. I'm like, there's no way I could even begin to explain what I'm watching and why I care about this. So I'm hoping no one asks me what's currently
Yeah.
on what I'm watching on my phone with on YouTube. But yeah, it was so good to see it, and everyone just seemed so happy to finish in third place. It was quite the achievement, I think, from all of you. But yeah, well done on being on Team Canada for that. Now you do come back to Canada. You kind of already led into it, so I'll just start from there. Allison Elgersma is currently now your pairs partner. And you've done quite a few competitions and stuff together. Even though you had met in Spain, when do you kind of make the decision to partner up? And because now you're really taking things seriously, it seems. If you're Allison does take puzzling seriously. She's fast as well, very similar to what your times are very similar to my times as well. The three of us kind of seem to be um, quite similar for most puzzles. When do you make that decision to say, hey, we need to do this in Canada and see how it goes?
Well, so I remember talking to Caitlin after Worlds, and I'm like, so, like, what are your thoughts on Worlds next year? And she had already gone the year before, so this would have been her second Worlds. And she's like, I don't know if I want to go again. And I was like, well, I just got like the bug. I want to go again.
Yeah.
So she didn't tell me no right away. She just was like, I have to see where I am because she had then just recently moved to California, and there was sort of other factors in play in her life. So fast forward to around November, and that's when I asked her again and said, "Hey, like, what are your thoughts? Because if you're not going, I might ask Allison and see where she's at." And then she's like, "Yeah, I don't think I'm going to be able to make nationals. I don't think I'm going to be able to make worlds, and absolutely you should ask Allison." And I was like, "Okay." So then before I asked Allison, my first message was to Devin because Caitlin is on Devin's team. So I'm like, I've been trying to get on Devin's team from before I knew anybody. I'm like, hey, do you need a teammate? And it's like, yeah, I've already got my team. So obviously she's Devin. And so then I was like, okay, fine. And so now Caitlin is removed. And I was like, Devin, any chance you need a teammate for nationals, for worlds? And she's like, well, I already have my team for nationals, but let me just make sure my schedule aligns with worlds and I will let you know for my worlds team. And I was like, okay, so then that is on the back burner. And then I message Allison and I just say, hey, like, any chance you want to pair up? Because we already had agreed to do a virtual competition in December, just like on a side. Because I tried to get her to go to Eastern Regionals, or no, the Fergus competition. So the first Fergus competition, I asked Allison, but she was going to Eastern Regional, so she couldn't go. And then we were like, well, we should do another competition together because you're local and we know each other. And then we agreed to do a virtual competition. And then this all came up about pairing up. And then I just messaged her and said, do you have a pair? And she said no. And I'm like, shut the hell up. We're in 100%. That's it. And so then that was it. And which at the same time is when you guys were puzzling too, because she had messaged me like, oh, I was doing my world's puzzles and did Flower Jungle, and she got the exact same time as me. She'll just like look to see where she would rank. And she's like, I was just doing all of these to give them to Adam, and I looked, and that's the same time as you. And even at Nationals, she was like one position away from me. Like we've been kind of following each other without really realizing it. And then, yeah, she said she didn't have a pair. And then I was like, let's go. We're all in then. And then that's kind of how that started. And then shortly after, Devin said she was going to go to Worlds and if I wanted to be on her Worlds team with Katie and Tess. And I said, absolutely. That's exactly what I want. I'm looking for a more competitive team. I want to do well. And let's go. So that's kind of how that happened too. And then I did ask Allison about Nationals team as well. But then you guys had already paired up. So I didn't have a team. So Devin was already taken. Caitlin wasn't coming back. Allison was already taken. And I had nobody. So I was like, well, so Tess was going to nationals and she was like, I asked her, do you want to be on my team? And she said that she would. And then I'm like, all right, well, team of two. That's where she starts. And so that's kind of how that started the rest of the story about how we got everybody. But yeah, this is funny.
Yeah, there's quite a bit of shuffling that takes place in the puzzle world, especially when it comes to pairs and teams. Because yeah, schedules need to line up. You do want to have certain levels of competitiveness that go along with it as well. And as we do this more and more, I know you mentioned at the beginning, I said it's going to come back around now, and it's coming back around. The competitive aspect does does matter
Definitely.
to some degree because yeah, you want to see that improvement, and when you're on certain pairs and certain teams, um, if you stay together, that's obviously great. And if you're both kind of have the same mindset on practicing, fantastic. Same with teams. But things change over. Um, yeah, you were on a different team at from your first nationals to your second nationals, first
Yep.
worlds to second worlds.
Yep.
For myself, for nationals, I was on a team last year for nationals, and I'll be on a different team for nationals next year. I am looking for a team, by the way. So if anyone watching this is looking for someone on a team, that would be me. So, uh,
He's fast.
yeah. For Canadian Nationals 2025, then, you do practice with Allison for pairs in between that. Uh, Multiple first place finishes in there, so that must feel pretty good as well. And still like some like second and third
Yeah,
places
top. Yep,
in
we're
there
doing
too.
well.
Yeah, we're you're not going to win everything, especially when pairs like Tess and Liam show up.
Yeah.
So it can be tough, tough to do those. You don't do national, no, you don't do Eastern regionals because
No, I couldn't.
you're in Fergus
Yeah.
for that instead, and we'll come back to that. But you you must be feeling different than going into your first your not your first nationals, your first highly competitive nationals, I would
Yeah.
think
Like
at
taking
this
it more
point.
seriously. Yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely a different mindset I think you have going into this one, where it's not necessarily let's just make the finals.
Yeah.
It's there's so what is your goal then with individuals when you show up for this nationals?
So my first goal for individuals was to get my own table at in the final. Obviously make the final, but I thought I was fairly confident that I was going to make the final regardless of whatever puzzle showed up. And then it was going to be to get my own table. So I was like, I can do it. And, Allison had her round and she did amazing. And I was like, well, if she can do that, I can do this too. And then I just was outside of I forget even what I placed, to be honest, but didn't get my own table, which is fine. I was all right with it. It's just, that was my first goal. And then my second goal would have been to beat my placement from the year before, which that did not happen either. So what do you do? Learn.
It's there's multiple factors in play. First, with Allison's incredible finish in her round, landscapes are her thing, and
Yeah.
that is absolutely her wheelhouse, and that really showed up in that. Do you like landscape puzzles?
No, God, no.
Yeah,
Weakness.
I
100%.
can't stand them either. Um, I do have what, so you did finish 14th in that qualifier round.
Okay.
Um, you're put at table seven for the qualifier, so first row, I believe. This is the first time our nationals have had seeding placements, and the qualifier rounds were kind of determined on like previous results and a few other factors that went into it. Was there any nerves added to it by being placed in row one?
Not really, because in the first nationals, when they didn't have table placements, it was like a free for all, and that actual same table was the table that I had. So I was like, oh, well, I'm going to my table. So I didn't really look at it as like I was ranked, whatever it was, seventh or eighth or whatever on the table. I was just like, this is sort of like my table in my area of the room, and I'm happy to be here. So it didn't matter to me.
Now we knew the artists at Canadian Nationals this year. We didn't know what order they were going to appear in, but we could look up their puzzles beforehand and kind of practice if you had the opportunity to. Was there a specific, again, I say this in all the videos that this comes up. Every artist is very good. They are excellent artists. They're very good at their craft. Not every artist style translates to a puzzle, which which is important. I mean, they all can, but just makes some of them a lot more difficult. Were there any artists you were kind of hoping would preferably not show up in the individual rounds?
Well, so I can only think of two, like a pro and a con for artists. Obviously, the con is Katarina's, and we had done one of her puzzles, and it was really, really hard.
Yeah.
Like it took us forever, and I was like, "Oh God, this painting." So I realized that painting obviously is a weakness, along with probably everybody. And I can't think of the other artist's name, but the Halifax Harbor artist reminded me of like a Charles Wazaki type of style, and I really like those ones. So I was most looking forward to that type of puzzle. But then the other artists, like I did look at their work a little bit, like their Instagram pages, but I was like, you know what? I mean, yes, it's good to see it and get an idea, but I didn't put too much value on it. I just was like, it is what it is. They're going to show up and just got to do it. So,
Yeah.
but I just knew the painting, Katarina for sure I was dreading. And then I wanted the Halifax Harbor type. But otherwise it was like whatever. I'm happy with anything.
So fortunately and unfortunately, you do get both of those puzzles, both of those artists over the course of the weekend. But we do get Katarina in, where is it? Up here with the
Yeah.
pink Walk in the Rain, Pink Flower, Nightmare. Again, very great artist painting. That's definitely not the issue, but what were your thoughts when you opened it up the bag and saw that?
I was disappointed and I was dreading the puzzle from the get-go. And I was just, and I feel like that I would have a very different mindset now, but and that was even just this year. I could not get over that sort of mental hurdle of that puzzle. And I tried so hard and I'm like, okay, just put all of the tree parts over there and just like, oh, what am I working on right now? I can't really tell. Okay, yep, this is, and then I saw my table mate do like the water at the bottom. I was like, oh, that looks easy. And it's like I did that and, just kind of get ideas to help through it. And like I could tell sort of a little bit of the different flowers. And I just really struggled putting pieces together. Like I was pulling the house, but there was sort of two pieces to the house or two parts of the puzzle. And I really was completely disappointed with my performance in the finals. Like I just tried so hard to just get it done and just try and everything I practiced for. And it just, was not working that way for me. So did
I've
worse, was
I've had
disappointed,
split
whatever.
decisions or split opinions on this. Do you think if you had gotten the full table on your own, it would have been different, or was the puzzle itself just going to be kind of a not good result?
I think it probably would have helped a little bit just to have a bit more room, but ultimately, I think you're right. I think it was the puzzle itself that was the problem. Me and the puzzle were the problem. But again,
Um,
knowing what I know now and to kind of how to work through feeling like that is like it would be a completely different experience with that puzzle. Like, because I used to be like, please don't let it be like whatever type of puzzle and think that I hate it. And I know, like, we always would say, like, it's my favorite puzzle. But honestly, just being like, whatever is in here, I'm going to like and I'm going to do it. Everyone has to do it. And like, just kind of having like a better mindset than I did. Because I was just like, I hated the puzzle as soon as I saw it. And then I had to do it for the final. And it was just like, no wonder I had like a poor result because it was like, I really wasn't all in like I should have been, even though I was trying to be, but I had a mental block up from the get-go. So that's okay. You learn.
yeah, I wish like for the rounds that I recorded, like personally at nationals, I always do just a time lapse video. Saves the battery on the phone, saves space on the phone. So I just do that. And I was the same when I saw the image, I was like, this is not going to be good. And but I guess something clicked a little bit for me that day, because my result was better than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, you did great.
And but because it's a time lapse, I can't properly go back and look to see really what I was doing in each different section. I can see the order I did the sections, but
Hmm.
not kind of how I like try to piece everything out. And I wish I could, um, because I did that puzzle again like 2 weeks after it, and I was almost like 10 minutes slower. So I don't, yeah, I have no idea what happened on that specific day.
Yeah.
Since then, I've gotten better with that puzzle through
Yeah.
repetition, but um, yeah, there's just some days where, and I don't really remember nationals. I just kind of did the puzzle aspect and it worked out, but it depends on the day. I always tell
Yep.
people the puzzle and the day make a huge difference. If everything comes together all at once, that's all you need, and it can easily fall apart just as much
Yeah,
in
definitely.
the same scenario.
Yeah.
But yeah, we also had pairs on that first day, the at least the qualifying round. You're with Allison, as we already mentioned. You destroy the pairs round third place. I think you're only behind Tess and Liam, and Devin and Katie, I think, are the two pairs that beat you in that round, which
Is that right?
fair enough. I know
I'd
Tess
like
and
to,
Liam were
we'll
no,
fact
you
check
beat
that because
Tess and Liam.
I was gonna say, I think we got third on that
Oh, I said
one.
you got third,
Okay, well then
but
it was Devin and Katie and Riley and Amanda.
Riley and Amanda, yes.
Yeah,
Yet it wasn't Tess and Liam because they were at the table beside me in the final. So obviously it wasn't them. Amanda and Riley.
right.
Um, which again, two very good pairs. Anyways, were you happy with the third place?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
100%. It
So
was
I'm
like,
just
yeah,
trying to
this
gauge how competitive you are. If you're gonna be like, no, we wanted first.
no,
We're only
no,
happy with
no.
first.
We there you will start to see a trend as we go through some notable finishes that it is getting to be the gap is getting smaller. So I was absolutely thrilled with our performance at that third place.
Yeah, and I think measuring the gap between certain people is an easier way to measure progress than necessarily positioning. Because you're always going to get different people that show up to the different events. It's not consistent. It's not the same 30 people every time. So it's if you can pick a few people going, okay, this is where person A always finishes ahead of, they were this far ahead of me last time. Is it more or less? Great. But we do head into the final. This is the third time you're doing 1,000 piece competition puzzle with a pair and not a 500. Were there any concerns going into the finals?
There weren't, but there should have been. So I
Okay.
wasn't really worried about it. I was just like, eh, whatever. It's just 1,000, we'll get it done. Like we've been practicing 500s. And then comes 1,000, and I'm like thinking it should be just fine. And we just keep going and doing more of the same. However, that is not what happened. And it was, I struggled with the sky. So at the time, so I do the border. And then I always do the border for Allison and I. And then I do the sky. So she'll pull out what I'm supposed to work on, and I would do it the sky first. And I struggled with the sky, and I like didn't know enough to stop and do something else and be like, let's just fill in anything else and then worry about the sky after. But I was like, no, I could get the sky done, and I wasted far too much time on the sky, and we didn't place as well. Like I really, so my another goal I had was one, being our table mate, which we didn't, and two, top six. I thought we could get top six because of just sort of everything was progressing
Yeah.
that we were doing well. And, really that was sort of the next thing like, well, we could do this, Allison. We got this. And then, it kind of fell apart with the 1,000 piece and that puzzle. It wasn't a strong suit. So disappointed. Yeah, the Toronto one felt disappointed. And also just doing 1,000 and being organized to do 1,000. So I think we got 14th. I looked,
Yes.
I don't, yeah. So I'm like, again, disappointed because I wanted top six. And then from there, we knew it's like, okay, well, now on our radar, we'll be practicing 1,000 pieces until we're blue in the face or blue in the hands. And we'll get better at that and then just improve because 500s are easy enough to qualify for and do. It's like a sprint, and once you're good, and you'll just get better as you practice more puzzles. But
Yeah.
doing 1,000 and being organized with 1,000 was really our main goal after nationals. Both of us agreed.
Yeah. If my nationals partner from last year wants to pair up again, it's going to be a similar thing. Like we, sh I knew we were making it into the finals with the 500 pieces. Even though it was like the fewest number of people went through from that qualifying round, I think it's because it was my first national competition with pairs. I was still a little bit nervous. I'm like, what if everything goes horribly wrong and I just don't make it through? I'll be so disappointed. So we practiced so many 500s. And the thousands that we did practice was one of them was like Katarina's 1,000 piece puzzle.
Oh, yeah.
That's not something you measure time on. We did a Niagara Falls 1,000 piece puzzle, which was also a nightmare. Again, you're not really learning anything from that. Those aren't pairs puzzles; those are teams puzzles at best.
Yeah.
So yeah, the different mindset for next year would be we need to kind of rethink how the training goes. The 500s, I think a lot of us are at the point going, we're highly likely making it through, so why am I worried about that round? But there's more people every year, so especially next year with
Oh yeah.
nationals being in a hockey arena. So there's going to be, again, there can be massive changes coming forward. Last for this nationals, which is always the worst event that I like talking about.
I know.
I've already spoken with two other people who are on your team on this channel with Tess and Liam. I've had their points of view on it, and it's interesting to because everyone sees things slightly differently. So it's going to be interesting kind of see what your perspective is on the teams. First of all, none of you had fully met to practice beforehand up until like the day before the team's
Yeah.
event started.
Saturday.
Uh, how are you feeling then going into nationals knowing you've never practiced, knowing how important practicing is?
Well, I mean, so the thing is that the last nationals, my team was, we never practiced. We just showed up and puzzled. And so I kind of had this sort of same mentality. Like I knew I was looking for, like that our team was competitive, right? Because I already had Tess, then we got Liam, and then we got Amanda. And then like we kind of had average times for people. So we knew that our goal was literally to qualify. That is it. We just wanted to qualify. I never went in thinking had this completely stacked team and I was going to win. I never. I would have. Even if I had when I first met you, you had asked me that, I would have said no. I'm not winning. Are you kidding me? Like I'm going to do better than last year. That's my goal. Qualify and do better than last year. So the puzzle that we practiced on the Saturday night, I had just won in a raffle at nationals. Was
Yeah,
the winged things.
wing things.
Yeah.
It,
So, and I was like, oh, okay, well, let's use this one. And so then we used that one because I just won it. And then we were like, okay, you know what? With that time, we're going to qualify, and that is the goal. So we were like, okay, one puzzle, let's call it a day. And so that's all we did. And then when we got third to you guys, or second to you guys, I was like,
second.
holy shit, we have a real chance here. Like, all right, now we're talking. Like, let's go. This is going to be an interesting finals because, like you guys were absolutely on my radar and so was Devin. But again, I never thought that we were going to win. Never. I never.
Yeah,
So,
and
yeah.
with the second place with the qualifier, you did get the Halifax Harbor um, puzzle, which I'm sure you must have been happy about.
Hmm.
Good.
Definitely.
But yeah, you do finish in second place, one behind my team, and we had practiced considerably more than than your team
Hmm.
had. If anything, it definitely boosted your perspective, it seems, into it, and it for the teams that have practiced more than that, it's almost like oh, this is gonna be more interesting than we thought. We could kind of guess which teams were gonna be probably on or near the podium. And well, yes, you still had yourself, um, Tess, Liam, Amanda, still all very good puzzlers. So yes, there's always that opportunity, that chance. But coming in second in the qualifier, that's okay. There's something to really consider at this point. However, practice is important, and you can kind of need to do it to like work on strategies and see who's good at what. Because you can say you're good at something, but you don't really know how you are compared to other people. So when this puzzle shows up,
Yeah.
Puzzle Passion, what is going through your mind, knowing that you've only done two puzzles together? This thing is chaotic. What are you thinking?
Well, I was like, oh boy, just like everybody else, like not loving the image, obviously. But again, it's like, okay, well, we've all got this piece of garbage in front of us, which is not, it's a lovely puzzle, but to puzzle it in a final, not what I'm looking for, but they're not going to go easy on you. So I'm just like, well, how do you sort this? Where do we go from here? Let's just work through it. What are we going to do? Who wants what? Liam was already going to be on border. Tess was like, I will do flowers, I think was her first thing. And then Amanda was like, I'll do the lady's head and face or whatever. So like, okay, let's start with that. And we'll just go from there. And then we just kept working through it. And like I can think of times that we could have made it faster, right? Because it's like, as you know, that it's all over the place and it's not very easy to pull things out to work on. And it's just like, where is whatever, you know what I mean? But literally, we just kind of pulled things out, figured out where they went, put them in. I tried to sort as best I could, but you can't really sort much as you wish you could. But then, yeah, it was just, I didn't love it, but you had to do it, and we all had to do it. So we just kind of banded together and tried our best, and it was enough. I think we got
So
lucky.
as you're getting close to finishing, again, I've had Liam's and Tessa's perspective on this, but everyone reacts to tense moments differently, and those high pressure situations where you can't predict what's going to happen. No one's finished this puzzle yet. What's going through your mind when you have 20 pieces left, 10 pieces left, and there's still no one that's finished, and you have no idea what other teams are doing?
Well, so I don't condone what I'm about to tell you, but I looked up a time or two. I couldn't see your table though. So the disclaimer is I had no idea how you guys were doing. I could only see Devin's team. So I had looked up at no less than three different times during that final to see where they were, and I knew we were ahead of them. So I was
Yeah.
like, okay, let's just keep going. Let's just keep going. We're close. And then I had said to Tess at one point, I'm like, when do we consider shape sorting? Because we're kind of getting down to there isn't much that I can pull out as a project. What I just are we all feeling still good about where we are? Like, what are we doing? And then finally, we were like, okay, you know what? Everything is getting shape sorted. Let's go. So Tess came with me. We shape sorted everything and we had different pieces on different boards. And then we just kind of started to zone in on who had what. We're looking for this, which we didn't even have a full on communication as to what we were calling pieces either because we hadn't puzzled together, right? Like that came after. Like our team now has names that we call and we know what we're looking for to speed things up and all of that. We didn't have that. We were just kind of calling as we see them and doing our best to figure out who had what on which tray to fill in the holes. But and then it was just like, okay, keep going, keep going, keep going. And then, not just, trying to finish it. And then we finished, which is great. And then I knew that we beat you guys, but no one else knew. So we cheered, but then I looked over to see over here, and then I saw you guys finish. So I knew what happened, but then they're like, "Well, let's see, let's see." I'm like, "Okay, well, let's see, but but we'll wait." So, but then and then the whole peace thing and all of that, but still, it was a very crazy moment. But again, I was ecstatic that it was Allison's team. Like we weren't really friends then. Like I had just met you at that nationals. Really, I was ecstatic that it was Allison's team. My pair partner, her team, love it. We got first and second, and I am so happy for her. And then we beat Devon's team, which I really thought that Devon's team was the sort of the team to beat. Like you guys were fast. You just weren't on my radar. Like I was expecting because it's Devon, right? It's Devon, it's Katie,
Yeah.
it's Sophie. Like it's a crazy team, Jacinth. So it was
Yeah.
unexpected.
Yeah, all four members on all three teams are good at this. Yeah, I when you say you don't condone looking over, I do. In like for instance, I definitely looked at that puzzle as the Devin's team, Katie's team as well throughout because they're right beside us, so it is a good way to kind of measure. But at the same time, it also gives you ideas on maybe approaches that you're not considering for the individual qualifier. We were in the same round for that at Nationals 2025 with the landscape, and I started off in a making a very poor decision, and I felt like I wasn't going very quick. So yeah, I looked at the tables on either side of me and saw their approach, going, yeah, that's better, and I rearranged what I was doing. So I think looking at it's just another strategy. It's gaining information on the spot and seeing. Sometimes it's not the right choice. You can look at them going, "Well, that's a dumb choice," and you move on and do something
Yeah.
differently. But yeah, definitely I'm looking, and yeah, I couldn't see over to
Yeah.
your table. So I knew I could like see like a brief outline of it, but nothing specific. So I knew
No.
you were up there as well. But yeah, the it was only a 1 second between celebrations, but it felt like a lot longer of a 1 second between.
Yeah.
And then yes, we had the 10-second penalty as well. But um yeah, congratulations, I guess. It's
I
first.
know. I'm sorry.
But yeah, it's for a team that hadn't practiced. It's quite the achievement. And I've asked the other ones already, but things change. Are you planning on teaming up again with the same three people at Nationals 2026?
Yes,
Okay.
we
Trying
are
to
coming back.
defend your title.
We are coming back to defend our title. But I do agree that things do change. But as of right now, we have all made an agreement to stay together, and that's what we plan to do.
Good. I'm really hoping that if I'm not part of a team, if I'll be cheering for the repeat, because I love seeing a repeat team come in there. We had Megan who repeated as individual champion in there. So the second one, and I hope I don't know. Part of me wants it to be as close as it was this year because there's some, and that's very intense. But at the same time, I don't want that to happen to another team where there's that missing piece and there's the confusion at the end and the celebrations muted a bit and it's
Yeah.
just win outright, win by a minute or so.
Yeah.
It would
It will
be
be
nice
interesting
to
to
see a
see.
pop. Yeah,
I don't think we can get lucky. Well, the competition is getting stiffer, that's for sure. And I feel like it will impact not practicing will be more prevalent this year. But I do think we will still do very well, and I hope we can win 100%. But, we'll see. You never know.
I did predict last year that the winning it was only going to be by a few seconds that the winning team would finish. A lot of people said, no, it's going to be a couple minutes. I was like, I just have a feeling. And unfortunately, I was right, but on the wrong side of the
It
right
could have went
aspect.
either way, my friends.
It kind of
Like,
fits, and that's going to actually lead us well into Worlds 2025, is that. So, again, you are the first person I'm speaking to since Worlds 2025 ended. It is your second Worlds. It was my first Worlds. It's less than a month since it all happened at the time of recording this. First of all, what were your overall feelings returning to Spain? What was it like stepping off that plane or getting back to the city of Valladolid into the dome? Like, was there any like moment where it was significant on your second go around?
it was, well, I wouldn't say there was a moment. We went a little longer this time. So the first year we went, we only were there for basically the competition, and that was it.
Yep.
So it was like too rushed the first time. So this time we had a couple of days before in Madrid and then a day after in Valladolid. And it was just, all this anticipation leading up to Worlds and then finally getting there because like the BYOPs and all of that kind of stuff started to take off. So we've been puzzling like crazy leading up to Worlds. And then it was like, it's finally here. All of this planning, all of this practice, it's like here. And then it was just so exciting. And then to be there with all of my now very good friends. So going to not knowing anybody and meeting Allison there and sort of the Guinness team people, but like not really knowing them, to becoming friends over a year, spending time together, going on trips, puzzling, staying at houses, all of that stuff in a year, it's just like changed the entire dynamic of the trip. And so now I've got all of these friends that I'm puzzling with. Someone always is around to do something, and now you're in Spain doing it. Like it was just like and it was incredible. Like it's hard to put into words a feeling of what that trip felt like, but amazing. Loved every minute of it.
So I'm gonna kind of bounce around in this to kind of because there is a storyline here with when it comes to Worlds. You are partnered up with Allison, as that would make sense. You had just recently competed at Eastern regionals as well in Canada with a very good result, I believe. I forgot to write it down. I think it was third,
Second for teams and
second,
fourth for
fourth,
pairs.
fourth for pairs, which is still um, the people from Quebec are very fast. So Eastern regionals is highly competitive. A lot of them don't make their way to nationals. So once we see certain names show up at the Quebec or Eastern regionals, whatever they're going to be called, it's not easy to get through. So the two of you, I know you practiced a lot heading up to Eastern regionals with a fourth place finish is great. How are you feeling going into pairs this time then at Worlds?
Oh, amazing. I am like ready. Allison and I are both ready for pairs. Like I'm not even like if Caitlin and I can make it into the finals the way we did last year, I know I'm feeling that Allison and I for sure are going to make it into the finals because we've been practicing and now, it's just we're ready for this. This is what we've been practicing for. We're going to make the finals and that's just it. No specific goal in the finals, just get to the finals.
Make it to the finals. Did you take your own advice and you were focusing more on those thousand piece practicing?
100%.
Yeah,
We
because
Allison and I we met up and like literally I don't know how many pieces she'd be able to regurgitate that information, but we literally brought like let's just say 20 puzzles and they were like 17 of them were 1,000 pieces because it was like we wanted to do 1,000 pieces and get better at them. So we redid the nationals one, which we would have placed sixth the when we redid it after we practiced. And then we also did, which is a kind of a fun fact, the team's second qualifier, the forest one.
yeah,
So we did that with
Indigo
both her and
Forest.
and our time on that one would have placed us eighth. So I'm like, okay, so Allison, we're doing what we need to do. Let's just keep going. So that's basically a lot. Our focus was hard on thousands just because we both didn't want to go through what we did at nationals and we wanted to improve. And we knew there was a 1,000 piece waiting for us in the final at Worlds. So we wanted to just do our best.
Yeah, I'm not going to spend much time like what was your qualifier puzzle at Worlds for
Oh,
pairs?
the Loving Longhorns.
Okay, which you go through just fine.
Yeah,
Semifinals, you're in the same
Frida,
round
yeah.
as I am with the
Frida
Frida
Kahlo. Yeah.
back here. Again, through to the finals, no issue. So clearly focusing on the 500s wouldn't have made a ton of sense with that. You go into the finals, 1,000 pieces. Again, you're the first person I get to speak to about Worlds. We know because nothing's kept secret. We know what the final image is going to be because it leaks the day before, and we find out it's this image here called speed puzzling. It's in the dome. It's a meta puzzle of a meta puzzle. Like there's a lot. It's I like the puzzle. There's a lot going on. Did the two of you strategize with this puzzle
100%.
beforehand?
Hell
Pardon?
yes.
Yeah.
We met up, so I think the final was at like 4:30 or something like that. We met up at 12:30 and we had the picture and we basically went through what are we going to do? Who's doing what? How are we working through? What are we doing next? Who's pulling what? And basically did that leading up to our final because we had nothing else in between that time. So yes, we strategized as best we could and just had an idea as to how we were going to attack the puzzle.
Did your strategy stay together for the most part once you actually opened the box, or did you have to kind of toss a lot of that strategy out?
Mostly it did. We both thought that we would be able to pull the outside edges of the puzzles, the small puzzles, because you could see the white. However, once you start to look at those pieces, as you know, you're not putting those together first by any
No.
means. So basically, I pivoted to I'm just going to pull any piece that has a small puzzle on it and leave that over here, and then do what we had planned to do to work through the puzzle. Like Allison did the dome, I did the people, and we kind of just worked our way into the middle and we finished on the puzzles. And we didn't have to shape sort, which was nice. We just kind of worked through you know, the filling in the holes as we got down to it. But yeah, no, it worked out well. And I had no idea, like I said, I had no expectation for any kind of placement for any of that. But when I stood up, when we were done and we finished 30th, and I stood up and I saw that Devin and Katie had just finished, I was like, oh my God, Allison, the window between us and Katie and Devin is like 30 seconds or something. Like it was something
Yeah.
so small. I was like, we almost beat them. I can't even believe that. Like I was more excited that like kind of they were out of reach for us for so long that the window was so small. Like it was a great, and then to be 30th is also like, okay, what? 30th?
Yeah.
Like that's insane.
Yeah, it's I when I was going through getting the inform collecting all my information for this chat, and yeah, looking at those results. Like I knew what the results were already, but then actually sitting down and looking at the final results on the World Jigsaw Puzzle Federation webpage, um, I tried to imagine if I was in that 30th position, would I be more happier that I was in the top 30 or the second Canadian team barely behind Katie and Devin? Ultimately, I went with top 30 in the world, I think is a nicer thing to look at. But yeah, that gap between
Hmm.
your two pairs is extremely small. And I think, as you mentioned before, possibly at next year's nationals and obviously for worlds, the practice aspect, there is significant benefits to that. I think, I don't know, there's no way to know for sure, but if you didn't spend all that time practicing those 1,000 piece puzzles, who knows how that turns out. For instance, myself and Tess, who had only done two competition puzzles, two 500s, and then two practice 500s. This was our first 1,000 piece in the pairs final. We were happy to be in the pairs final. I was ecstatic. But I know Tess had high expectations. But yeah, not doing 1,000 piece puzzle, I think you don't realize how much you should be practicing it until you're in that scenario. And I realized that at nationals, realize it again at worlds. So it won't be a mistake I make twice. Won't be a mistake I make three times. Say
Yeah.
that. Um, Test, there was nothing I could do with Test. There is no way to really do 1,000 piece practice beforehand. But yeah, top 30 is absolutely incredible. Moving on to teams, I've spoken to all three of your team members on this channel already, but none post Worlds. Your expectations, I know from the other people, were extremely high. Believing a top 10 finish overall
Yep.
was the goal. Now that it's done, was that also your goal? Did you think it
Yep.
was realistic?
When I first heard it, no. But then once we practiced, we had our weekend that we practiced together. I was like, well, you know what? We're posting times that are comparable to a top 10 team. I said, so you know what? I do think it's possible. So I got on board and I was all in for a top 10 finish, and that was 100% my goal as well.
And your team finished second at Eastern Regionals,
Yeah, we did.
uh,
Yeah. With
behind
Allison.
a surprising team. However, the team that beat you, so it was Caitlin, Megan, Riley, and Amanda.
Hmm.
They also had a puzzle weekend away as well. So they had an intense practice session
Oh,
going
okay.
into it, so similar to your
Yes.
uh,
Although that team didn't. My team didn't. Because Tess wasn't there. It wasn't Tess. It was Allison.
at
Eastern Regionals was
at Eastern Regional.
Allison.
Sorry,
Yeah, so
right?
we
Oh,
never practiced together, but at the same time, it's Devin and Katie and Allison and I who have plenty of
I
time
forgot.
practiced together. Yeah,
Yeah,
just not as a team.
right. I forgot Tess didn't go to Eastern Regionals, which makes sense being on the West Coast.
Right.
That's quite the commitment.
Yeah.
Um, but still second place
Yeah.
at Eastern Regionals is good and a
Arrow,
nice
like 30 seconds or
boost.
something like that.
Yeah, a nice boost heading into Worlds. Um, Now on your team you have Devin, who is a national champion and always Canada's top finisher in 2023 and 2024 for Worlds. You have Tess, who won Western Regionals and has a good chance of doing that again in a few months. You have Katie, who won Eastern Regionals and did very well at Nationals. You're on a very, very powerful team. You yourself are also quite the puzzler. You don't have a number one finish like the other ones do at a regional or national competition. Um, but again, still very good. What do you think it is that you brought to this team to make it such a good team?
Well, I first off, I want to obviously I know that I'm not the fastest on the team. Like when I joined the team, it was much like you have stated yourself when you paired up with Tess that you don't want to let her down
Yeah.
because she's faster than you, notably. And that's how I felt. Obviously, I'm the weak link here. So I basically, so when we had our practice, I was like, okay, so this is sort of, I want to make sure that they know that I have a spot on this team and I'm not just dragging them down. So I just tried really hard to find what my place on the team was. And so I was more than happy to be the Caitlin McCluskey of the team. So I was like, let's get what Danielle's new role on this team is to be a sorter, and I'm going to be really good at it. So I sort everything for everybody, sort the whole puzzle, and I pull out projects. And then when everybody has what they need, I pull out what I need. And then they're like, they are looking for this. It's like, okay, where is it? Oh, here are all these pieces. I give you what you're missing. And basically, I'm trying to fill in the gaps of helping them do the majority of the puzzle, where then I fill in the holes of what's needed from there. So if they're all doing stuff, it's like, oh, I'm going to start filling in all these missing pieces, or this goes over here, or all that kind of stuff. And I'm just sort of the supporting cast member to the role, not being the not fastest puzzler on the team, but still an incredibly important role. And also, I would say encouragement to the team, keeping us together. Like, we have a very fun team. And I've joked with you about this before, that you had said that you have a militaristic type of team, where
Yeah.
it's funny that our team is not like that. Like, Devin likes to sing, and she'll like say like capybara, and it's like capybara, capybara, and we all will say that, and we're puzzling. It still gets done, but it means it's just very different to puzzle with people that you're actually having a really good time with and still puzzling fast. Like, we are taking it very seriously. It's just we all have this sort of joking type of personality while we're doing it, and it's fun to be a part of the team. And knowing what I know now and going through worlds on that team makes me feel like I absolutely did belong on the team. Like, everything happens for a reason, and not necessarily having another super fast person would fill the role that I did, and they would have done as well as they did without all of us contributing to that.
Yeah, I compare like team formations that when it comes to puzzling to other activities and other sports out there. You can have an all-star team in hockey of the five best ever people on the ice, but if they don't work together and they're very individualistic, it's not going to come together like you need it to. Or if everyone's extremely good at one thing, but they're all good at the same one thing, there's going to be so many holes somewhere else where it just doesn't come together properly. And different personalities and stuff also come together in there. Well, yes, as you mentioned, the more militaristic type of viewpoint that changes depending on who's on my team as well. If
Yeah.
someone can like sing and laugh and do whatever, but they're still highly focused, doesn't matter to me what you're doing. That's irrelevant. But it's when it's the people that are starting to have a chat and stuff as well. Like, it's super casual. Like, oh, so what did you do last night after the pairs round? Or, no, that's we're not here to do that.
That's fair.
But if singing or laughing or just doing something like that helps you stay focused, go for it. If that's going to be the case, everyone puzzles slightly differently. I'm not a huge talker when it comes to puzzling, and mostly because it slows me down. But I think every group is different. But yeah, I agree. I think you brought something to that team. Having a designated sorter, and organized as someone who's super organized is imperative to a puzzle team. If you don't have someone that can do that, it doesn't matter how good you are. You could be four fantastic assemblers. If nothing's been sorted for you, you could be in some trouble, in some trouble with that. But your team qualifies through in seventh place, which top 20 go through. Seventh place, that based on your goal entering worlds of top 10, seventh place, in my opinion, is okay. Um, I think it might have been a bit lower than expected, if I'm guessing, for a qualifying round.
Yeah, I would agree. I think we all thought that we would have placed a little bit higher, but we were still thrilled with seventh. And
Yeah,
also
well, yes,
too,
definitely still thrilled. You're still
yeah,
through top 10.
but yes, I would
Um,
agree. I would agree
yeah,
that we thought we would have probably gotten those puzzles done a little bit quicker. We did do that castle one before, and that's why we chose that one.
yeah,
My vote was for the pool, but then again, I often let other people who want to choose
yeah,
because like I let Allison choose in our pair because I'm like, you know what, it doesn't matter, whatever puzzle it is, we're in it together, and I don't really care which one you choose. Like you're not going to choose a really hard one,
yeah.
but I mean, they all voiced their opinion and that they settled on the ones that we did, and it was like, okay, no problem. We figured it out and we did it. And yes, it was not as fast as we would have liked, but still, we are like, we qualified. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah. Do you still think, does your team still think a top 10 finish overall is possible?
Absolutely, we do.
Okay.
Yes, 100%. We're like, it doesn't matter. We just have to finish it. Now they're unreleased puzzles and it's
Yeah.
anybody's game, and we have just as much of a chance as anybody else.
And I think that's a big factor. I keep forgetting when I'm going back and looking at the results is I do sometimes forget that it's unreleased puzzles for these final rounds. So yeah, it's if it's a puzzle that doesn't suit that team's experience or there's second guessing that takes place, everyone's on the same playing field. So like you chose the castle puzzle, which probably wasn't the ideal second puzzle to choose in that round, even though you'd done it. My team would have been the same. We had also practiced that castle puzzle because we thought the castle series might show up. It did. Um, we probably would have gone with the same two puzzles you picked. But the more I looked at the pool, I was like, this is the pool's the one that we should have, if we were in that round, would have been the better option to do. But you don't need to worry about that in the finals. There's no
Yeah.
multiple options. Everyone gets the same two. Unfortunately, the final doesn't go perfectly. Your team finishes in 27th, which is still top 27th team in the world. So
Oh, yeah.
that's still a key point in there. You now have two top 30 finishes already
Insane.
between two events. Um, but what do you think happened that you didn't quite get to where you might have hoped to have finished?
Well, the landscape one was fine. Like we all were in on that one 100%, and we knew we had the discussion before, if there is a busy puzzle, we finish with a busy puzzle so that we're not all in, because at the castle when we were finishing the castle, we were all in one zone like this, and if it was a busy puzzle, we could be kind of more spread out finishing. So we always knew we were leaving the busy puzzle for second.
Yeah,
So the landscape one was fine. We went through that, no problem. And then it just was a more difficult puzzle and not looking at the box enough or seeing what could be pulled because you couldn't really pull anything of note because it was
yeah,
sort of all over the place. So we did learn that we all want to work on busy puzzles because that's, a weakness. We weren't as fast as we needed to be. I mean, we were only 9 minutes. I mean, 9 minutes is a large margin on the world scale, but we were only 9 minutes from top 10. So that to me is reachable. And if it's just a matter of practicing more, because we did only have one weekend together to practice, and you can only get so many puzzles in a weekend,
yeah,
that we all also agreed that we want to practice like a couple more times in a year before Worlds.
yeah,
So we all are still all in and want to do better. And like before we even went to Worlds, Devin and I joined Devin's team. She's like, I have sights of top 20. She wants top 20 and everything. And then I'm like, yep, me too. I'm all in. I will practice. I want to do better. And the result was 27. So I mean, unbelievable. But still, yes, we did think top 10 as we got together and started to puzzle with each other and really start to see the chemistry that all four of us had.
yeah. And like I know you had that one weekend to practice with, but you will get to the point where you're 20 puzzles in, 25 puzzles in, and it's really how much is this helping at that point? It's like it's an exhausting day. Your light's going to be not as good at that point. So yeah, multiple weekends I think will definitely help even more. And if the four of you are together for 2026, I I'm predicting now that you're definitely higher than 27th place.
I'll take it.
My prediction's
Upside.
been pretty good, so I'm thinking definitely higher than 27. So if you're looking at that top 20, I think that's definitely in the realm of possibility. Top
Oh,
10's always tough. It's
it
hard to
is. For
predict
sure it
that.
is. Yeah.
You're still the top Canadian team, so there's a silver lining there. You're now the top Canadian team. You're the second best Canadian pair, which your second national worlds is going very well
Yeah.
so far. Before we get to the individuals, I just don't want to forget about it. You were also on Team Canada again for the. No one really knows what the name of it's called. I just keep calling it the Nations Challenge. Just the easiest thing to do with it. It's different this year because it's not a Guinness World Record attempt where we knew the puzzle or you knew the puzzle in advance. Um, Having it as a world record attempt would have been nice because you know what the bar is now with the Americans setting it last year. But they change it up. 1,500 pieces, up to 10 members are allowed on each team. Initially, though, Canada chooses 8 people to be on the team, and we all find out via email who was chosen for it. I was thrilled to be part of that initial 8 on there. However, even though you were on Team Canada last year, there is a lot more Canadians going this year, which does play a factor. I think there was like 20 something, maybe low 30s Canadians last year. We're now at almost 70 in total once you include the pairs. So a
Yeah.
huge jump in
Yeah.
participants.
Definitely.
So it's going to change up who's on this nationals team for sure. What was it like? So yeah, it was the top 8 were sent out. And then it was decided afterwards, like maybe a week at most, that we'd add a ninth and 10th member because we're allowed 10. Why not have 10? We can strategize in different ways. You do get added as the ninth or the 10th member on there. So you're back on Team Canada.
Yeah.
What was that kind of roller coaster like?
Well, it was very humbling to say the least because I fully expected to make the team anyways, right? Obviously, I would just assume that I'd make it, and I didn't. And all of my friends were on the team, and so I was devastated on one side, but then I was also like, well, I didn't make it. I still want to be there for all of my friends, and I want them to do well, so I'm going to be there to cheer them on, and that's fully what I intended my role to be because, what about everybody else behind me who didn't make it? Like I'm not the only one who's upset here. It just seemed a lot closer and more of a possibility at the time. And then I was also, because it was based on your rankings, so then I was also like kicking myself, what could I have done in the last 2 years to improve my ranking? And oh, I had a bad nationals and I was just, completely devastated. And Tess, bless her heart, she reached out and was like, I really wish you were on the team and I would love to puzzle with you. And I was just like, oh, I'm getting goosebumps talking about it. So sweet. So anyway, it was, really nice to hear from her. And then a week later goes by and it's like, you made the team. We added 2 people. And I was like, oh, well, that's awesome. That's what I wanted. But like here I am, like I didn't make it though. I still got to work on things because I didn't make it initially. So like I also want to prove myself being now the 10th member, right? Like I want to make sure that you guys all know that you made the right choice in adding me. But also I don't want to feel like this again. So what happens in the next year where my rankings matter and really trying to make sure that I definitely make the team and there's not this sort of in between business. But it was amazing and I'm glad I made the team. And I, again, felt like I am sort of the type of person to fill the role. I don't mind being the person who is sorting. Like, I don't need to be the person assembling the puzzle. Like, I was common goal, same team. So I was more than happy to be, I will sort for whoever you need me to sort for. It was a bit of a different dynamic though, once we all got to puzzle together. And maybe 10 was too many, I feel like, because a lot of teams like had people back away. And maybe we should have had a discussion about that
Yeah.
earlier on, or even I stopped puzzling sooner, but it just seemed like there was sort of too many cooks in the kitchen near the end of it. But I was still getting pieces in, so I was like, well, I'm not stopping. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah, as long as you're contributing, it was yeah. Yeah, Canada doesn't have a spectacular showing. It was, I think, we don't really officially know what the final positions were because why would
Not
they post
posted.
that?
Yeah.
Um, it's ninth, give or take one spot, is what I think I have written down. Um, there was a lot of factors that went into play as well with it, which I won't get into today. But I think that there's might be a future episode where I have a few of the Canadian members on at once, just to kind of go through that specifically because yeah, it was we were planned to be organized. There was some chaos in there. The heat didn't help things. It was
Yeah.
um, us being forced to a certain table as well. I wasn't thrilled with
Yeah.
because we wanted an outs member. I don't know if you
Yeah.
were there, but we tried to get an outside table where the air conditioning was on us, and then they moved us to the dead center of
Yeah.
the
And where
front
we did the
row.
puzzle too, like I thought the plan was if it was that type of puzzle, it was going to be on the other end of the table. And then it was, if it was the other side, it was that way. And then I was like, what is, okay.
We now know what to plan for
Yeah.
potentially. Well, they'll probably change up what happens again next
Yeah.
year. If there is one, if there isn't one, who knows? But yeah, when you mentioned the ranking and what you could have done in the last 2 years, there's two ways to look at it. One, we didn't know about a ranking system until a few months
Yeah.
beforehand,
That's right.
and the fact it would take into consideration the previous 2 years worth of events. And
Yeah.
for some of us, for most of us, we were just kind of getting used to speed puzzling and
Yeah.
we didn't really know how to practice and get better. So like your results will be probably similar to my results, where you do see faster times and better positioning. Um, but like the first nationals has now been dropped from the rankings because it's been more than 2 years. So last week or so there would have been slight adjustments in people's standings. So it's tough. It's what can I do over the next 12 months
Yeah.
or 10 months at this point to make sure I'm as many top 10 finishes as possible. That's how I'm looking at it because if it's the top 10 go through, if I'm finishing in top 10 and everything, potentially that should be enough to still get me into the Team Canada next time as
Yeah.
well. But who
Yeah.
knows? It depends on how many we enter as well.
Well, yeah, that's right. Who's all going? Like that all, there's
Yeah.
names that I didn't really, weren't on my radar, let's put it that way, that
So
they
yeah,
were now.
yeah, there's more people on radars for
Yeah.
sure. Um, individual round at Worlds. Uh, this year's qualifier for individuals is the first time that we get to pick between two puzzles. Were you okay with this?
I didn't love it, but I'm kind of
I
on the
hated it.
board of yeah, like I want it to be like to properly measure like a puzzle competition, we all have the same puzzle. Simple as that.
Yeah,
So I wasn't really on board with it, but then I was like, well, how's that going to work? Someone's going to be able to do one faster than the other, and then you're not going to know but I guess that didn't really wasn't a factor in, who got through. So I was like, okay, well, whatever, I guess. Not much I can do.
yeah. It might play a factor, like if you're at, because it's the top 85 in the qualifiers that went through. It might play a factor if you're around 84, 85, 86,
Yeah.
if you pick the right puzzle or not. But if you're well above that, it doesn't make a difference. You were in one of the tougher rounds when it came to
Yeah.
options, which makes it even more challenging, I think. You had the Scandinavian Idol as the
Yeah.
rectangle option, and then Feel as the circle option. It was the only round without a circle of colors, uh, which made it even more challenging. Um, you picked Scandinavian Idol. You picked the rectangle. Was it an easy choice? Did you second guess yourself at any point?
I did not. It was a very easy choice. I could see through the bag and I knew what puzzle it was. And then I was sharing a table actually with another Canadian, Agnes. And I told her, I said, hey, just so you know, I know what the circle puzzle is and don't choose it. It's hard. I've done it as a pair. And she's like, okay. And so then she didn't even look at what it was. She's literally just took my advice and went with Scandinavian places. and she beat me. So I actually expected to beat her because I looked at where she ranked in Eastern Regionals and I had beaten her. I was like, okay, I could beat my table mate. She killed me, and I'm like, oh, landscapes, of course, as you know, is not my strong suit, and at least I qualified. But yes, it was a very easy choice for me to not do that other circle. I traded it. I was like, I don't want this.
So yeah, you do make it through to the semifinals again. You've been here 12 months before, same situation. What's your thought process this time? Knowing it's your second Worlds, you didn't qualify last time. How are you feeling?
Well, I'm excited to be here in the same position for sure. I'm like, oh, now it's been this long. I'm in the same spot as I was before. I want to do better than I did last time. And then I just felt like I could do it. I felt like, you know what? Whatever puzzle shows up, I've been practicing. I am faster. I'm going to do my best. And before I do a puzzle, I kind of sort of say a little. So my grandma's no longer with us. And I sort of say a little prayer to be like, I want to make you proud and help me go fast. She hasn't helped me win yet, but we're getting there. Anyway, I was really just excited of whatever was going to show up, and I was going to just do my best. I always try to do my best, but you know how sometimes you kind of just like have this other gear, and it was just like I wanted it. I wanted it, and I wanted to be on, and it was on that puzzle. And I was talking to my sister the night before, and I had said this Paris First Class International from the movie, just implying that it was going to be this goal of anyone can win. Why not me? I can qualify and let's just go. I just was in a really good mood and I just felt like I can do it and that's it. And so then I just went into the final like that. And the final was, or sorry, not final. I didn't make the final. I
Spoilers.
Spoiler, yes. But I felt like that was the best puzzle ever. I loved the puzzle. Everything clicked, no pun intended or pun intended. It was just amazing. I had a smile on my face for the whole time. It was like a new creature. I was like, oh, a box of chocolates I want to tell Mark about, and this coffee, and this little creature. There's this, there's that. The entire puzzle was like that. And then the only thing okay, so there is actually only one thing I would change is that because there was holes, right, when you're filling in the holes at the end, which is white, a lot of white. The table was white. So the spaces are white and the table is white. So I had two connected pieces that I missed, and I would have put my tray under that corner that was missing a piece, the black side up, so that when I looked at a glance, I could see that that little toilet paper is the one that was missing because I couldn't even see on the puzzle where a missing piece was. I was going to call time and lose two because I could not see where the hole was. I'm like, it's all finished. I don't know where this goes. Um, so that is probably the potentially the difference of the qualifying or not, but that's the only thing I can think of because literally everything else worked well for me. And even Mark, he had gone out and come back and he's like, I came back and you were already done and I did not think you were going to be done that quickly. I was like, I didn't either. That just happened and it just like everything just worked for me and I was just like through the moon. I was so happy.
Were you distracted at any point by the lights on the ceiling change or the drone flying into the Jumbotron? Because you had a very chaotic, everything else was happening around you as well in your semifinal. Were you distracted by any of that?
I did hear the drone. But that's the only thing that registers about anything other than me working on the puzzle.
That's good.
100%. So like when I finished, I believe I asked you, I'm like, did something crash? And you're like, oh yeah, the drone. And I was like, oh my God. But no, the lighting, any of that, I didn't even, I was just like zoned in. I was like, let's just go. So
The
I didn't notice.
Yeah, and it was incredibly fast. That's I love that puzzle. I think it's my favorite one of the week. I can't wait to actually put it together. I'm trying to get back in the right mind puzzle space before I sit down and do it for the first time.
Hmm.
But I can't wait to do it. That's exactly the type of random puzzle
Oh
that
yeah.
I enjoy. Um, so the top 60 finishers make it through. You finish in 62nd place, which is heartbreaking.
Yeah.
I was with you and some other Canadians when you found out, since the website takes so long, myself included, dropping 13 spots out of the qualifiers. What what were your initial feelings of being that close, missing it by 2 spots, or in total 6 seconds? That's the difference between 60 and 62 was 6 seconds.
Yeah.
What goes through your mind?
Well, I mean, I guess there obviously is some disappointment, but like I was not upset. I felt like I did the best, for lack of a better phrase, like the best puzzle of my life at that time. Like it was, I've never done a puzzle that fast ever. It was 47:24, and I don't think I've ever got like a sub 50 on a first try on and an image I've never seen. And I just like I exceeded my own expectations, so I was already like riding a high of what I just accomplished. And if I had a qualified, like that would have been like the icing on the cake and obviously incredible. But I, one way or another, it didn't matter whether I qualified or not because I just felt like I did the best that I could have done. And I wanted to do way better than I did last year because I wasn't even close last year.
Yeah.
And so I accomplished that. And I was just like, I just feel like this was meant to be the way that it was. I mean, it absolutely sucks that it was so close for sure. Like that's like so close. But like, I did so well. It didn't really matter.
And is that still the same sentiment when they updated the standings a few hours later and the 61st place person made their way into the finals because someone dropped, an Australian didn't, maybe they couldn't attend the finals or something, so they went to the next place person.
I
So
wonder what happened.
in reality, you missed it by 1 spot and 3 seconds, the final.
I did see that. So I find myself every so often looking at that screen and seeing how close my name is to that queue. And I saw the 61st person and I was like, I really wonder what happened there. And I was like, so the margin is even smaller that I was just knocking on the door of the final. And I'm still not disappointed. I'm not. I honestly am proud of myself.
That is very impressive because I can honestly say I would not have handled it clearly as well as you are doing. I would have been, I don't even know, but I would have been so angry. I would have been replaying that puzzle 1,000 times a day in my head, looking for where I could have saved a few seconds. So for you to have that type of mindset, I think is much more healthy than what my competitive mindset is. And that's like obviously something that I work on is being okay, there's only so many things I can control. Um, because when it's down to that few seconds, it's did you have 10 more pieces land upside down than the person in
Yeah.
61st place? Like you can't control that that type of thing.
Mhm.
And yeah, you had those two pieces that were together, and maybe
Yeah.
the tray would have helped a little bit, but the other person in 61st would have had this a similar
Yeah. And there was a
stuff with
tie
it.
somewhere up. Like there's so many things that could have
Yeah.
happened or needed to happen. It could have gone either way. So it's just like it wasn't meant to be, and that's okay because I still was proud of what I did.
Yeah. And I know you've already kind of mentioned and hinted at it, but you are returning for your third Worlds next year.
Hell yes. Can't wait. I'm so excited. And my goals will be the same to make the finals for all three categories. That's that individual final, that number, that ranking so technically I like to say that I do technically have a world ranking because
You do.
I would be the next person. There's no arguing that. So whatever, 181 or 2,
Yeah.
whatever it would be.
181.
Yeah, 181.
Yeah.
So still out of like
Yeah,
a
I do the
thousand.
same thing. I count mine as 196.
Yeah, see. Perfect.
Because yeah, why not do that? Um, we have exceeded the time that I thought we were going to need for this, but I'm not I'm not surprised. So I'll go through just a little bit of other things I know I want to get to.
Yeah, for sure.
You are also part of, based on the shirt you are currently wearing, you are part of the Canadian Speed Puzzlers, and I'm going to ask for a clarification here. Is it because it's so hard to refer to the Canadian speed puzzlers without just kind of making it seem like I'm talking about all Canadian speed puzzlers. So
Right.
is it more like the Canadian Speed Puzzlers group, Canadian Speed Puzzlers organization, Canadian Speed
Organization.
Puzzlers organize? We're going to go with organization for now.
Yeah.
I'll update that as I need to update that.
Yeah.
So let's just say the Canadian Speed Puzzlers organization, which is
Yeah.
completely separate from the
For Canadian speed puzzlers.
four Canadian Speed Puzzlers, which is also different from the Canadian Jigsaw Puzzle Association, not
Right.
associated.
Right.
Um, Essentially, you are helping out aspiring speed puzzlers as well as helping the advanced speed puzzlers as well by providing them opportunities to practice and socialize and other stuff like that. What's your role within the organization?
So I kind of help all of us get together like every single week. We haven't for a bit, but we were getting together and just basically we all had different things that we wanted to bring to the people. The people being anyone who wants to learn how to speed puzzle. Like every time we would be with a group or anything, you have beginners ask us all the same type of questions, and we all had this experience that we wanted to sort of make sure that those newbies want to have, just like what you're doing. Same thing. We had all of these same ideas that we wanted to share with how does somebody get faster? What do they do? How do they pick puzzles? Any of that. How do they puzzle in a pair? How do they puzzle in a team? What is Worlds even like? All of those things. And so my particular role is just like everybody else's role, that we all just are together trying to give these our boot camps for beginners or fast track, and we're trying to maybe see if there's like a middle ground for someone who's sort of in between, because
Yeah.
basically if you do the beginner track you're not just going to jump to the fast track because you're not sort of quite there yet. And we also want to keep it new and interesting for people if they did take it again, right? We don't want to keep regurgitating the same information, but we just want to give people basically the basics on how to speed puzzle and then offer our experiences as well. I mean, having everybody who's on the team, in fact, is an incredible resource for anyone who signs up and talks to us. I mean, they get to anyway for the BYOPs, but it's still it's nice to have that direct line to people who know all about it. So
Yeah.
we're just part of this group spreading speed puzzling. Mm.
So yeah, the organization does a lot of different things. You mentioned the boot camps, um, which people can sign up for. That is one of the paid options to go through, but there you do get a lot out of it. I didn't do the boot camp, and the primary reason was it took place like right after nationals ish
Yeah.
this year, and as I had practiced so much, I'm like, I just need to rest my brain, like I'm doing right now, and like a lot of people from
Yep. Same.
CSP's doing. It's just Worlds takes a lot of out of a lot out of people. Some of us just want to do some casual puzzles for a bit, but you also have the bring your own puzzle events, which are free. I was very excited to get the emails yesterday that they are coming
Hmm.
back in a couple weeks, so that's exciting with
Yeah.
it. If there's someone kind of on the fence about whether they should do anything with the Canadian Speed Puzzlers, sign up for whether it's the boot camp or the bring your own puzzle events or whatever else might be on there, what might kind of what is there anything that you could say to kind of say this is how you might benefit?
Well, I would probably suggest that people start with the bring your own puzzles, because at very minimum, that's no cost to anybody, and you can just see what it's like. Like, do you like competing against other people virtually and see where you're at? And if it's not where you think that you want to be, then to consider a boot camp or things like that. And or if you are doing well and there's you yourself feel that there's areas that aren't quite, you're not as well rounded as a puzzler as you want to be, then the fast track and see what, puzzling with teams and pairs, and there's other strategies that you may not know because you're just getting into it. Yes, you're
Yeah,
fast, but like you said, when you started, you didn't puzzle with people and you didn't know certain things. So I would say to start with the no cost of bring your own puzzles, and then just get into racing other people or competing against other people with whatever puzzles that you have on hand,
yeah.
because that doesn't cost anything to you because we all have puzzles. So I
And
would
what
start
I
there.
liked about the bring your own puzzle event specifically especially for new people that might be new to speed puzzling or trying to improve in some sort of way, is the like the inclusivity aspect of it, where yeah, in those events you are going to have some incredibly fast people and they're kind of competing against each other in there. You're going to have more of the beginners as well, that where the goal might be to finish a puzzle in the time limit. And then you do tend to have more of those middle ground people as well, where they can compete and kind of try to push to get closer to those top end individuals and improve on their times, but can also be seen as a solo activity as well. And you're just there for like the camaraderie aspect of it and the little chats that happen afterwards, I think help with it too. I think they're really good events to partake in. I'll let you mention it, but how would someone go about signing up for the Bring Your Own Puzzle events or anything?
They can go to our website or Instagram at the Canadian Speed Puzzlers, and then there's a link to Circle. So a lot of our communications are for the Bring Your Own Puzzles are through Circle. So it is a free platform that you will be asked to sign up for, but then you have access to all of us that are talking all of the time and posting events, and we're also posting Canadian events. So not any kind of like nationals will be on there, worlds was on there, regionals was on there, any kind of events that anything, or even if there's local events that people know about, they can post them on there too. So basically, it's trying to get can events across Canada and people who are in these provinces connected to then start puzzling together, because a lot of times, like I know around where I live, there's only the puzzling at the brewery and that's it. And it's just like once a month, and I don't know anyone who does it other than me, and I only do it like once in a blue moon anymore because it's, not really my type of thing. The bring your own puzzles are for me. So, yeah, just our website at Canadian Speed Puzzlers will send you to the right direction of getting connected to all of us, and it's all free.
Awesome. Yeah, I would highly recommend it. Is there anything that you're allowed to say or anything of something that might be upcoming with CSP, something new or anything?
I didn't actually really even think about that, but I will just say that we are always talking. We do have some things that we've been talking about since we started, like events that we want to kind of make happen, that are still in the idea stage. But I do believe that there will be some exciting things next year that we weren't able to get to this year that we're hoping can get on the ground running next year, but nothing specific at this point in time, just more of the same.
Awesome. And I will say that a lot of people that participated either in your boot camps or the Bring Your Own Puzzles, a lot of them did attend Worlds, and this was Canada's best year overall at Worlds. So there's definitely benefits that have come out of this, and I'm sure we're going to see similar results at Nationals in 2026 as well. So if you're someone who wants to compete, especially Canadian who wants to compete, this is something that I would highly recommend considering if you want to keep up with some people that are practicing a lot. But it's also fun.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So we're pretty much at the end of what I have in here. There's just a couple more things really quick things to go through. The first one is on this channel, I do have my speed puzzling 101 type stuff that quick lessons and stuff that I do. And I do outsource ideas from this. And I always ask each of the guests on here if there was a challenge that you could provide for me to kind of include into one of these speed puzzling 101 events videos.
Well, I would say something, I don't know if this is like, well, it is a challenge, but I don't know. Just take it for you will, face value. I often bring these little 99 piece puzzles with me in places, and you've obviously have those as well. I'm sure you've seen them. And I've just done them so many times that it's like the puzzle, obviously, like the back of your hand,
Yeah.
to do it upside down.
Okay.
So when I was doing it, like one of the last times, I was like, you know what? I'm going to do this upside down and see how long it takes me and, start to practice really looking at the shape and see, and then doing it right side up made it easier because now you're looking at every little detail, which you normally do anyway. But when there's an image on it, obviously you're looking at the image first, the shape, the nuances of the piece second, in my opinion, unless you're kind of near the end of the puzzle. But I thought that was a fun challenge to do when I had it because I was like, you know what, how often am I flipping a puzzle upside down and doing it? So
I
try
think
it.
that's a good one, and it's a good lesson as well to have in there to practice looking at shape over anything else. And just to clarify, I'm 99% I'm sure I know what you mean, but when you say upside down, you mean face down. So all I
Yes,
see
image
is
side down, back
yeah,
of the puzzle piece up.
all I see is a
100%.
cardboard. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Okay, that's what I thought. That makes it a lot more challenging, but yes, that's what I
I
thought.
appreciate the clarification.
Um, we just have the quick fire questions left to go in there. Before I get into them, do you have any puzzle social media channels or websites that you just kind of want to mention here and where people can contact you or find you,
Well,
reach out to
I
you?
obviously the Canadian Speed Puzzlers, so I am associated with all of that. So you can find me through there. And then I do have my own Instagram, which I am very good at reposting image and posts that I am in. But it is at DannyBan54. So you can follow me and see anything I'm in. I like to share. I just have to get more, uh, I want to say more better. Better at posting on Instagram is what I want to do because I want to share the things that I'm doing. It's just
Yeah.
it's on the back burner and so many people are so much better at it. It's just easier to just share stuff. But I
Right.
am on Instagram.
Yeah, and all of those links will be in the description below, so feel free to click on any of them. And then just before we go into the quick fire questions, do you have any final comments or anything that you want to shout outs, anything like that before we go into the last little bit?
I just want to say, what do I want to say? I don't know. Thank you. I want to say thank you to you for having me on, even though I could say you thank you at the end, but I still appreciate being asked. And also, I want to say that I really appreciate all of my family and friends that follow me and support me. My boyfriend Mark, who comes to Spain and is there for everything. Just it really means a lot, and it's not easy to tell everybody that that you appreciate the support when they just sort of secretly do it when you're there, you know. So it's nice to have everybody around me supporting everything I'm doing because it is pretty crazy to think that you're going to Spain for puzzles is always the first comment, right? And now that it's like I've gone a second time and want to go a third time, people probably just think I'm insane. But it's like they are all 100% behind me, and it's just amazing to have that sort of support system in place of friends and family. But that's all.
That's awesome. Very well said. So yeah, into the just the quick fire questions. I've sent them to you in advance. You might have looked at them, you might have not, but we'll see how these go. Just whatever comes to your mind first, or whatever you want. So here we go. Your favorite brand of puzzles.
Ravensburger, followed by
Your
Buffalo. I do like Buffalo.
okay. Your favorite piece count.
I would say thousands is my favorite. And then 500. I mean, I do have a lot of 500s for speed puzzling, but if I were to sit down and do a puzzle and speed was not a factor, it would be 1,000.
Yeah. Your favorite cut style.
Ribbon. I hate random cut, or it's
Yeah,
something I need to work on.
yeah. I don't work on it as much because it never shows up at big competitions really. So
I know.
yeah,
It would be nice if it wasn't all Ravensburger. I mean, I love Ravensburger, obviously, but I'm just thinking if it's the world puzzle, it should be any brand.
yeah. That's
But
that's a conversation for a different day.
I
Uh,
agree.
your favorite speed puzzle event.
Event. Oh, I see. Yeah, individual pairs or teams.
Yeah.
I'd say pairs and teams is equal. I love them both. Individuals just an extra, but I like puzzling with other people.
Your favorite puzzler.
I would say Alejandro, and then Kristen, as far as international goes, and then I would have to give it up to my girl Devin. She has been on the top of my in the stars in my eyes forever.
Yeah, fair. Your favorite puzzle you've ever done.
Oh, I did see the question, and I don't know that I even know the answer. Well, I'm just gonna give it to the one I just did, the semifinal at Worlds, the cute kawaii kitchen, because I really did have the best time doing that puzzle. As far as all
Okay.
these other puzzles, I mean, there are a lot, but it's one of, and then I would say this rooster one, as far as the image goes, this is one of my favorite images because of the color and everything that is in the puzzle. It's like everything I love in a puzzle.
Okay. Your hardest puzzle that you've ever done.
That is a Cobble Hill puzzle, and there's like five owls on like a mossy log in a forest, and that was the most difficult thing I've ever done in my life. I did it, but I hated every minute of it, and I was like, I'm finishing this puzzle, and it was random cut, and it was so hard because all the owls looked the same, all the log looked the same, like it was just a nightmare. Hated it.
Yeah, just by the sounds of it, doesn't sound like it's something I would enjoy.
No, you should look it
Uh,
up though. It's crazy.
oh, I'll definitely be looking it up. Your least favorite design to see on a puzzle? Fur, flowers, whatever.
I would say probably painted lines, but then a very close second would be a landscape.
Well,
And then foliage would be third. Fur, I
okay,
don't mind.
fair enough. Your favorite puzzle moment?
My favorite puzzle, probably getting 30th with Allison this year because I really was not expecting it. And when we were so close to Devin and Katie, it just was like just such an incredible feeling that we were doing something right.
Yeah. I do remember looking over at your table when Tess and I finished, and you looked incredibly happy. Probably the happiest that I've seen you after a puzzle event. I knew obviously something went very well, and that explains it. Your favorite way to get new puzzles?
I like Facebook Marketplace. And I just like to get them on sale and just buy a bunch and do them. If I like them, I keep them. If I don't, I get rid of them. I need to figure out puzzle swaps is what I need to do. I've got two bags of puzzles that I want to swap out that I don't want to just give away, but haven't quite bridged that gap yet.
Yeah, they're tough to find sometimes. And then the very last question, your dream puzzle that you've not done but wish you could.
Um, I don't know that I have one. I mean, I read that and I thought nothing comes to my mind of any kind of puzzle that I want to obtain that I don't have. So, I mean, I don't really have an answer for that, sadly.
That's fine. Just any puzzle that shows up, you'll
I'll
do.
know it when I see it.
Yeah, yeah. You just might not have seen it yet. Nothing that really clicks
Yeah,
for you. But no,
that's
that
right.
was it. Thank you again, Danielle, for joining me on this puzzle cast, and it's been wonderful having you on here. As always, the time goes by so quick.
Yeah.
But um, yeah, absolutely great having you on here.
Thank you
Um,
for having me. It was fun. Always fun to talk. I didn't realize that we had so much to talk about, honestly.
yeah, that always seems to be the case
Yeah, I
on
guess
these.
so.
I keep trying to get the times down, but it's not happening, which I'm okay with as well. But yeah, thank you again so much, and we will actually see each other in a couple of weeks when we compete
Yes.
with each other for the first time in Fergus at
Yes.
at
I've
that
been looking
event. So I'm
forward to it.
looking forward to that.
It'll be fun.
Any guesses on what the puzzle might be?
Well, I'm gonna say it is Ravensburger. We know that. No, I have no idea.
I'm hoping they don't double up on circles again. I'm hoping for non-circle, but
Yeah,
we'll
I would like the non-circle as well, but that was your first time going last year? Oh, okay. So we don't know if it's a trend. We don't know any trends. Oh,
they explained it last year that they wanted a Halloween theme for all four of the events, and there's no Halloween 500 Ravensburgers that they could find at the time. So they went with just a dark puzzle, and that was the one that they found, like a
oh.
nighttime themed puzzle. That's how they explained it to me. But
I have a
uh,
feeling it will be one. I would be surprised if we didn't own it, either of us. I feel
it
like
would be
we'll own it.
surprising. But
Yeah, I had the astrology one. I already had owned the astrology one when we did that one. So I mean, I mean, we'll see. You know what? Whatever, bring it.
yeah,
I'm sure we
we'll see
will
each other
do
in a
well.
couple of weeks. But
Yeah,
again,
for sure.
thank you so much, Danielle, for being here, and it's been a pleasure.
Yes, it's been a lot of fun. Thanks for having me.
Bye.
See you.